Hey everybody, we are back from the deep with our finale episode of season 3. We decided to put together a full finale because we wrote it with you guys, 20 something plus episodes. So we decided to have a little fun, go over everything that we talked about, our favorite moments, highs and lows, best predictions we had, worst predictions we had, times we looked like geniuses and times we looked like dumbasses. We'll also cover highlights from the year of different things that were popping off, different themes that we had throughout the year. But first, we're going to run it basic, man. We're going to do some icebreakers. We're going to get Eric's thoughts on the Super Bowl. If Coach Lowe comes in, he's not here right now. We'll get his thoughts on the Super Bowl as well because we missed those boys post Super Bowl episode. We'll have Eric react to his immaculate playoff prediction record, and then we'll dive into the summaries after that. But I got Sir Michael Clark, I got TJ Stancliff, and Wheelin Dealin Eric Wheeler in the house. And this icebreaker is kind of more of a little different topic, more of about the real pod. It's not really just about football itself. I wanted to see. What was your favorite topic that we covered this season, just to make it fun? And then what was your least favorite moment, um, overall that you can remember, just for yourself personally? And then if you could add one famous pundit to our pod this year, who would that be? And what topic would you like to discuss or argue with that person? I thought it'd be kind of funny, like just all the different things we've covered. We kind of know how each one of us rolls. I thought that was, slick. I'll actually start it. Usually I pass it off. I'll start it first just to get it off. Favorite topic that we covered this season. To be honest with you, it was just, this doesn't sound corny, but for me personally, hosting this for 3 years, it was the consistency of just really diving into the league every single week. We didn't really have that consistency before. We also were following our own teams a lot. I think it was kind of nice that all of our teams shit the bed when it mattered near the end and in the middle. So we kind of just really embraced the whole league. And it's been a while since I've like looked at the whole league with this much detail and actually fell back in love with the game a little bit. And not just put all my emotional damage into my teams. Um, Saying that, my least favorite moment by far was skimming onto this podcast and putting my fucking head in between my legs and watching Notre Dame football just disintegrate and seeing the confidence and smugness off of Eric and TJ's face. Rightfully so. They were number one all year. We don't have to get into how their season ended, but it doesn't matter. They made it to the fucking playoffs. We fucking didn't. Um, that hurt the most. Wasn't even close. And if I could add one famous pundit to our pod and then, kind of argue one specific topic with that person, I would actually go, I'm going to go, I love Cam Newton. I love Cam Newton, but I want to see him and his fucking Wizard of Oz fucking looking ass on this fucking podcast because he disrespects Notre Dame so much that I would love to have a friendly conversation with a bunch of laughs explaining the fact that a guy that went to JUCO cannot comprehend what Notre Dame football is. This is not like, so. I definitely understand. But yeah, those are my fucking right there. We'll spin around the clock here. I want to give Clark time to fucking really break the ice. He's had a fucking rough day, y'all. He has. Some of us have rough days in the state of Ohio. Shit gets fucking wild. Let's see what Clark does and break the ice for himself. Clark, what's your favorite, least favorite topics, and who would you like to bring onto the pod this year and discuss something with them? Any of the topics we covered.
Favorite this year. It's funny because since you and I have been here since the start of the show, right? I think a lot of our views are aligned, and really, I think bringing TJ and Eric in really brought in a new facet to our show, right? Before, especially like I believe it was a year or two ago, it's just you and me. It's almost just us bullshit about football. And I think this year we got a little bit more analytical. It really took a step forward in processing football and breaking it down terms for our listeners. And I know I have people that have contacted me saying they've really enjoyed listening to our takes for football. I know we tend to get silly and shit, but I like to think that everyone here can really contribute in the way of talking to the game of football. Least favorite was definitely Notre Dame, dude. I haven't been that heartbroken. It is what it is at the end of the day. It was a great season. I had loved watching the team this year, loved watching the running backs. It was just this I really enjoyed watching Notre Dame football except the first 2 weeks. It sucked, but I really wish we could have seen what these boys could have done given a chance to play in the playoffs. If I could pick any pundit to have on our show, it either got to be Shannon Sharp or Ocho Cinco. I love watching clips of those. I could talk
Hell
anything
yeah.
with them, truthfully, just to fucking hear it. I'd love to just get Ocho Cinco's take on anything, dude. I could sit there and just BS with him because he is one of the funniest fucking people I've had the joy of watching. He's one of my favorites. And I know he's really not a true pundit, but he's just so fun.
He is though.
He's fucking out there. I just love like hits up on McDonald's, all their crazy shit he says. And I love when they bring Dion on the show too. Those three together, I hope one day have their own fucking show. They are great.
Oh, dude, especially when he just says anything where he goes, "Stay with me now." Like he's
Yeah.
like he's always in the middle explaining something. Stay with me now. Stay with me now. Hold
He
on.
makes Shannon just fucking not know what to say half the time, dude. It's fucking great. I
And he
could
makes
watch that
Shan
all
look so
day.
smart too. He makes
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, Ocho, what you think of this, Ocho? Man, talk to me, Unc. He goes, I am talking to you, Ocho. It's like, who gave these two unks a goddamn
Yeah,
microphone?
for
That's a good
real.
pick. That's a good pick. We'll spin it around. TJ, you were a new member added, you and Eric, since the draft episode on. Favorite, least favorite, and pundit. What we rocking with?
What's up, fellas? So, my least favorite topic and my favorite topic are actually the same. I loved and hated going over the college football playoff. I love since I don't get to talk football much like in my daily life outside of the pod, it was really nice to kind of chat, about these really hotly contested playoff games and really kind of unravel the matchups there and kind of get outside my own head a little bit. Like I have my opinion, you know, and if that's all that I'm exposed to, that's all that I think about. So it's nice to come on here and think about the other stuff. And then the part that I hated about the playoff was the Notre Dame thing. It was just, I mean, and on your guys' behalf, it made me fucking uncomfortable. Like it was like while it was happening in real time, it was like watching a baby stroller roll downhill through an intersection where you're like, oh shit. Like I cannot believe this is happening while it's happening. And I genuinely I felt that as a member of the pod. I wore that on my chin, like God love Notre Dame, man. Shout out you guys for putting up with that. And as far as pundits go, give me the man himself. Bring me Terry Bradshaw to From the Deep. The man he's a belligerent old man. Let's get him off TV and on From the Deep where he can speak uncensored, unfiltered, and get the shit off his chest. The man knows more about football than I'll ever know in my entire life, and his resume in the game is longer than a CVS receipt. Bring me Terry Bradshaw to From the Deep, man.
Oh, do that feed families. I didn't even think about that one. Oh, Terry Bradshaw. Hey, you know what? I always think about that clip when they start clapping for him for reading the teleprompter. I'm like, let's go, Terry. Fucking guy. Learn how to read at a late age. He's a fucking late bloomer, a fucking dog. Eric, another fucking new man added to the pod. What's your take on your favorite, least favorite, and pundit added to the podcast?
All right, boys. Good to be back. I missed you guys last week. It's weird now. It's weird going 2 weeks without seeing your guys' faces, man. I'm not used to that yet. But I think my favorite. I'm not trying to go off of TJ's point, but man, college football is just so much fun this year. Doing the playoff thing the whole year, and then yes, it was a disappointment when Notre Dame got left out and Ohio State was booted early. So I think that was my favorite part. My least favorite part was, oh God, I don't. That's tough. My least favorite part might have been when we realized none of our NFL teams were going to do it this year. That was kind of
Yeah.
depressing. Like we knew the Browns fans weren't in it, but we were all actively rooting for the Lions and the Niners. It was like, it's fine because you guys are going to go. We're going to have a team to root for. And kind of not having that team for the whole pod to get behind after the second round or wild card. Yeah. It was just kind of, it was like, man, fuck. It just took it away. It's like it got stolen from us, man.
Yep.
That watch experience. And we would have had that same thing if Notre Dame would have been in the playoffs though, too, for college football. Pundit wise, my pundit. Oh, that's a fun one. I'd love to see the boys go on like a show like Pat McAfee, something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but dude, no, I want to have a pod. I want us to have John Gruden on the pod
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
and
That's a good pick.
just sit here and tell us that we don't know shit because we don't.
Yeah.
Just sit here and listen to John Gruden. Let me tell you something about this fucking guy. I want to get on there, make us all do our snap counts, bro. Like,
oh yeah.
just God, how much fun I'd have with that guy.
That would be good, especially with you and TJ. You know, with the way you guys think about the game and how your brain works. And then you add like a little bit of Keegan on there. He would think Keegan's like a weird genius, I think, on accident. He'd be like, Keegan would keep it simple. He goes, play action, baby, on third down every time. And you see Gruden be like, here's a guy that knows ball.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one. You know what? Going off of Eric's point, before we get to the next subject of his thoughts on the Super Bowl, that was something about the pod that was weird this year. We've kind of gotten very lucky
Mhm.
the last couple years. The first year we did it, we had the Niners going all the way to the Super Bowl with the Lions becoming electric. We also had Will on here, who's an Eagles fan. That was electric. And then, or whatever was going on during that. So much has happened in the last 3 years. I almost forget which year's what. And then we had Notre Dame make it far last year, which was really electric. And that's what I thought we were robbed because we kind of had it laid up for us. I even thought, especially college football, what TJ was getting at too. Like, it's like we all had that smugness. We all had that confidence where it's like no matter what happens, our teams are the blue bloods. We're in that top five. We're the one of the teams that can win it. And then like we blinked twice, and it's like boom, boom, boom. Notre Dame's out. Ohio State loses. Lions go on a losing streak right at the same time to end their season, and that was it. Now we're on the Niner gang. That's it. Like, and then
Yeah.
we try to give Keegan his love for Oregon, but it's not the same for Notre Dame and Ohio State. There's a difference out there. Keegan even recognizes it and knows that. Going on the Super Bowl real quick before we keep going on our thoughts of the podcast. Eric, man, we didn't get to have you for the Super Bowl. What'd you think about the Super Bowl? What's something that maybe shocked you? And just some of your thoughts before we move forward.
Yeah, man. So overall, I think the people saying it's a bad Super Bowl, I didn't agree with that. And I know a lot of you guys relayed that too on the pod last week. I thought it was a fun Super Bowl. Yeah, it was defensive, but I mean, if you love football, you like to see games like that sometimes too. Quickly, like I thought, just looking over the stat lines, it looks like Drake May had a better game than he did because I feel like he had almost 300 yards passing. I feel like 150 of that probably came when they're already losing the game, but by three scores. Darnold did just enough not to lose the game, which is fine. I don't think that's I don't think that's a hating point. Like he didn't have to go win the game. That's fine. Like, they didn't put him in a situation to do that. I did kind of feel bad for Kenneth Walker because if that holding call if that holding call doesn't happen, Kenneth Walker would have the most rushing yards in the Super Bowl ever.
Wow,
Which
I
is
didn't know that.
yeah, over 202 or 207 or something like that. Because
Woo.
that was like a 60-yard holding call that got called against him. So that
Golly.
that that would have pushed him over, and I thought that was kind of a moment that got robbed for him. But I mean, besides that, the moments in this game, I know you can't give the MVP to a defense, but I mean, if you're talking about kickers and a running back, which no hate to Kenneth Walker, but that defense, I mean, cleared that defense won them the game by a mile. And I mean, the Patriots offensive line. I'm not going to touch on Will Campbell because that point's being overblown, especially, and that's from a guy who didn't love Will Campbell in the draft process. Like the whole shit about moving right now. TJ, you broke it down last week. Well, I've seen Joe Thomas talk about it. I've seen all these guys I trust talk about it. Like, hey, just because he had a bad playoffs, but his stuff isn't related to like his arm, his arm length and shit like that. That's not his issue right now. Like TJ, you said his issue was he wasn't anchoring. And you just saw that in that game. He just kept on getting blown up. I think it was like the most pressure given up in a game for a tackle in Super Bowl history. Which I mean, you put a rookie out there in Ireland, dude. That's gonna happen. Like that can happen. But like I'm not one of those guys that's gonna try to do a victory lap on him now. The whole Patriots offensive line had a bad game anyway. It wasn't just him. Yeah, besides that, it's a good Super Bowl, man. I enjoyed it. Two teams I did not expect to get there, so I feel like that adds a really fun element. And I mean, who would have told you 2 years ago Sam Darnold would be a Super Bowl champ, starting on the Super Bowl team? You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, man, that's all I got for the Super Bowl. Good game.
Sorry, I was listening. I thought my dryer was fucking catching on fire. Um, no, I mean, like we said last week, man, a good game is like going what we just said about watching the season play out. It was kind of cool to watch two teams that we didn't really have any fight in. We didn't have a dog in the fight, and I'm just happy that my division still stands tall, baby. Well, let's go, let's go. More excuses. I need more. I need more excuses just in case we lose, because in the game of NFL, having excuses is not a bad thing at all. Eric, I know we've talked about it in our meeting, but not live for the people. You demolished all of us. You were 11-2. I was 10-3. You messed it up when you banked on the Bears and Bills in the second round. But other than that, you were fucking spot on. With multiple weeks, you started 6-0. with your predictions.
The
Fucking
fucking
killed it.
Bears game. That was the only game I bet with my heart and not my head, bro. That's what I get. That's
That's what
Well,
I
you
was
what I
almost
thinking.
did
get.
it.
Yeah, both of them. Bills barely
Yeah,
lost. Yeah,
right there.
that's about as close as it gets right there. So I just want to make sure I got that shout out. As we move forward, I'm going to go on a little spiel here that is carefully thought out to kind of explain everything that happened throughout this year. Everything that we talked about in a way, kind of hype us up before we move on to talk about more of our worst and best takes of the year. I have that for everybody. We're going to do 2 early predictions, and then we're going to do who has the best chance game predicting for next year, who has the best chance to do this or do that. But as we go, I want to make sure we give our right little send off here. This season had everything. We did Mount Rushmore debates all the time. I thoroughly enjoyed that. We'll do more of those in the off season. We did the mascot Royal Rumble. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
That was electric.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just to see who could fucking throw down. I still got money on the Leprechaun, but I do like the TCU Horned Frog as a runner up there. Or Pistol Pete over there in Oklahoma State. That's another good one.
Was that the West Virginia University? We were laughing about how fucked
No,
up
the
he looked.
Purdue. It was
That's
Purdue,
what it
the
was. Purdue.
Boilermaker.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. How creepy he was. We did hypothetical coach and player heist of all kinds. We did brown paper bag therapy sessions for the Browns. I have to shout that out. TJ really fucking went all in
That might be
with
the name of
that.
the segment from now on whenever you cover
Yeah.
the Browns. Paper bag
Yep.
Brown.
Yep. Go Browns. Every
Make a little
time.
jingle.
It's like two different people when he does that. You know what I mean? Like Mick Foley and WWE type shit. Like
Yeah.
it's not the same guy. He's a different mask on. Had to shout that out. Playoff prediction disasters. I remember we tried doing our first bracket. It was so wrong in a sense that it's like I'm glad we just tossed that away. You know what I mean? Like that's a rough draft of rough drafts. I think we kind of put that in the back of our head that we didn't even do that. I saw like the photo for it, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go. Ass. College football chaos, of course. We got into it with Notre Dame, Ohio State. It was wild. Even Oregon, wild. And wild for everybody. We'll get to that with the worst takes. We were not right about college football at all. We're going to have to take our time about college football. We're a little more tapped in with the NFL, it looks like. But college football, this upcoming year, we're going to have to take our time so we don't look stupid again. Of course, Super Bowl breakdowns was electric. I love getting ready for the playoff season with the boys in the NFL, breaking it down, going around the group, seeing what predictions are what. We had wild coaching carousel this year. I think that was kind of crazy for us to try to cover. It was almost so crazy where the rest of us are kind of waiting still for the draft to come up before we cover it completely. Just because we don't know what they're gonna do yet. Love seeing Bob Sala on Pat McAfee today too, man. Just like guys like that, you kind of get to feel what they got going on. Yeah, Bob, dude, not Robert. Bob.
You
Bob
Bobby.
Sala. Yeah, Bobby Sala, dude. And enough Lions, Niners, Irish, Browns, emotional swings, just all the time. It was very interesting to watch the Browns, and you fall in love with your boys' teams. Like I always know what's going on with the Browns. I always know a little bit what's going on with Ohio State, but it's kind of cool to see us like all really dive in, ask each other questions, and actually like watching the games. We celebrated hypothetical Notre Dame wins. I cannot wait to post that over and over and over again when we win every goddamn game next year. And when we win the national championship, it's going to be the best hypothetical national championship of all time. Hell, I hope it's like one of the years where the G5 schools, someone has a crazy Cinderella and then they don't make it. They put an asterisk next to Notre Dame because,
Yeah.
we beat Delaware. Fuck off. We're still winning it. We survived the Buckeye heartbreak. As much as I hate on Ohio State, I was not predicting that type of fall. I'm glad we got through the Michigan week okay. I was low key, man. That first fourth down stop, I was really banking on the Wolverines to give me one more
good.
year.
The pod listeners should have seen the group message the morning of that game.
Yep.
We were going
That's what I'm saying. We survived
next,
it,
bro.
We all stayed friends. We all stayed cool. I don't play fair. TJ learned that this year. I don't. I'll say whatever I want. You're not allowed to say anything back.
Yeah. How dare you?
Like, it's not even, yeah. It's like, watch your mouth. We questioned a lot of awards this year. We questioned, especially when it came to like getting the MVP stuff and like the ups and downs with the Heisman. I thought it was really cool to see Mendoza climb the way he did to be solidified like that. I also, it broke my heart, but it was cool to have Jeremiah Love deep in that conversation. If he doesn't get hurt against Stanford, I really do think he could still win that thing if he had another 200-yard game. That was real fun, especially even like the NFL. Like we all kind of felt like Matt Stafford would do it after a while because how hot he started. But just to see it all play out was just really cool. We also got to witness Myles Garrett together. That was fucking badass, and love that. We built playoff brackets that age like milk. I keep writing that down because we just suck. we just suck at that. We had a lot of meltdowns. We had a lot of chaos. But I loved it. I did. I loved it, boys. Here's a quick little list here. The Browns' emotional support arc. So I was going through what happened with the Browns all year with TJ and Eric, and I put Clark in there, but Clark's just concrete. We know where Clark stands. Even if they win, he's gonna be like, "Well, can they do it again?" Like he's not gonna. He just wants to enjoy a nice Sunday. If it was a cool game and he got a good nap in, that's all he cares about. He doesn't care what happens. He doesn't want Ford to have the ball anymore. And Clark mentioned the Browns wide receiver core 10 straight episodes in a row
Real pet peeve.
in the same exact way. It always ended that way. Literally 10.
That's
Like,
fucking awesome.
I think you only had like a week gap and you went after it. Like probably 90% of the episodes there's a take. If we ask you legitimately about the Browns, you always said that. That's so funny. I love that the TJ slowly became the spokesperson for Cleveland, because Eric started to fall off a little bit and get on his train, ready for the draft, ready for the future. TJ was just really soaking up any win they could get. All those wins they got was for TJ. I truly believe it. And if they would have listened to Eric, they would have been drafting for the number one pick right now. If they would have done all that.
You tell me who's happier.
Um, there weren't a lot of "this is the year" speeches. But I do lean on. I think of what TJ said in the first episode or the second episode, which was the NFL episode, getting ready for the season. It was kind of poetic, man. How the season went is exactly how TJ described it. He just wants to see good football. He wants to see something positive. He wanted to see the rookies play hard. He wanted to see some type of turnover. And he wanted Kevin Stefanski out of here. So, like, literally, TJ went bam, 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 bam. Compared to everybody else on the pod, TJ probably had a successful year. Like, the way he predicted it and emotionally was ready for it. And he had the Myles Garrett sack record on top. I think TJ was the happiest Brown fan. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to check who was the happiest Browns fan this year. It was definitely TJ. That's for sure.
Go Browns, baby.
Hell
Bring
yeah.
it in there, Todd
Well,
Monken. Come on, kid.
We'll be quick after this here. We don't have Keegan, but I had to make sure I just mentioned the roller coaster he went through. Keegan went from predicting that they're going to go to the Super Bowl, predicting that they're going to make the wild card, predicting that they just hope everyone stays healthy, all in the same podcast, our second episode of the year. But also throughout the year, Keegan went from being the most stable one, to be honest, about everything. He was really stable about Oregon and his thoughts on that. He was really stable about any predictions. Honestly, we were talking about Eric's predictions. I didn't count Keegan in the mix, but because he missed too many episodes in a sense. But if you weigh out his predictions, he had the best record by far. Keegan did not put he just stuck with his gut on everything, and he ended up being the calmest one. Go Lions became both a celebration and a coping mechanism. I noticed that every time Keegan said anything about the Lions, good or bad, it all ended with "Go Lions!" Like same thing with the Go Browns with TJ. Thought that was fun. Notre Dame therapy sessions. Me and Sir Michael Clark, we spiraled. Yeah. It's funny that the hypothetical thing became a real meme because that's literally what we were doing for a while. Like we could
Oh,
win, we
yeah.
could do this, we could beat these teams. It was just rough. The weekly Irish hope went from hope to panic to math equations to acceptance. That's how fast it went in my brain. When I say math equations, we were literally doing the math. How do we do this? This is where they are at. We didn't move. Where do we do from here? This is how many wins we have. Blah, 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 blah. I'm so glad we're done with that and excited to do it all over again. The Ducks and Niners lifeboat. When everything else failed, we clung on to Oregon and San Francisco. They were the last ones standing for us. Very West Coast. I thought that was just kind of unique for this type of pod. We are definitely Midwest through and through. We support not the but Midwest. Hell, we were riding for the Bears because we love that shit. But nope, we had to ride with the Niners and ride with the Ducks. Did not work out though. I didn't say anything about the Niners until I had to say stuff near the end. It kind of makes me look bad. I was looking back on it. And I was like, damn, I really was playing it safe. I went from like, oh, who knows, man, to like, Sam Darnold ain't shit. Like I was going all in. That's the way it is. And I brought up CMC being in the Hall of Fame 4 times this year. I don't know why that would even come up 4 times. Just wanted
Because
to
you know
make sure
none
that
of
was
us were
said.
sitting here telling you no way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
He's
safe
going.
space. Yeah, it's my
Yeah.
safe space. Everyone's like, yeah.
Bubble.
Yeah, I'm kind of dependent on TJ bringing up like a stat somewhere else about someone else, and then like makes me feel better. Playoff bracket disaster. We went into that. You know, we also some all-time classics from the year that I thought are some of my favorite things with the icebreakers. Of course, the mascots win the Royal Rumble. Which active coach in non-QB would you like to take from another team? Best football city and state in America. What city or state doesn't have a team? I thought that was a good one. What classic team would dominate today's 12-team playoff? Some fun ones were in there. We had Boise State's teams. Keegan brought up Hawaii when they were 11-1. We talked about Central Florida as well. That was a fun one. Should non-QBs get their own MVP award? That won't be stopped. I think that's going to be something that we talk about constantly until something happens with that. Um, and then we just ranked everything nonstop. We talked about Madden a handful of times this year. We love doing that. Maybe we start talking about our in off season our little league we have going on. Um, love the old. We had a lot of storytelling. TJ, man, great storyteller all year. I loved his rant last week with Will Campbell. It was like the cherry on top with all the linemen watching, all the statistics. It just really just showed just the well-roundedness that TJ's grown from predicting Jacksonville to suck ass to this, which that was probably his worst take of the year was Jacksonville. A lot of educate young buck segments. I hope we're gonna do more of that. Like let's educate the boys. We have to. A lot of guest appearances type situations. We had Andrew Klein on this year, which was a good ass time. We also had Keegan Lowe popping in randomly, which is just so fun. Sir Michael popped in a few times. Ian popped out a few times. Sometimes I thought he was going to shit himself a few times as well on the podcast. We had Eric popping in from the car, driving, fucking whipping around, giving us his takes. We also have a fun episode where I'm drunk as fuck in Maine, and I totally hijacked
Yeah.
the hard work TJ put in for 2 hours. Just to make it all about me while I'm losing service in some fancy ass fucking apartment complex. But yeah, that was kind of like a wild thing. We have a lot of different things, of course, that we could bring up, but I just felt like that was a good little fun way to describe the year. Keep it nice and sweet. And then now let's hear what the boys have to say. I was going to think of worst and best takes by each person this year. I have my own, but if you have a couple that you have in your brain, either ones that you said that you're proud of or not proud of, or something you remember someone else saying, please do it, and I will cover the rest afterwards because I need a goddamn drink of water. I've been talking for fucking 15 minutes straight. I'll go around the board. Clark, do you have a favorite take, worst take? I know you have a good take, but say whichever takes you want that you remember from the season.
Uh, the one I think we talked about in our meeting, I was pretty proud of my Dolphins prediction. Although they did bounce back towards the end of the year, blew up a lot of the roster. Sounds like Tua's out. Worst take, I think I know I was a little hard on the Browns, especially Myles Garrett. He did have a fantastic year. That's just me being a fucking hater. That was probably, I'm sure most people listen to that, and I'd say a Browns fan probably thought I was a fucking asshole, but it is what it is. I'd say that's definitely my worst side it takes is probably most my Browns, other than the receivers, as I stated earlier. But no, probably my Browns takes are definitely probably pretty rough.
I love that you bring that up because that's one I had written down. You went hard. You were like, Myles Garrett got paid. He ain't gonna do shit. Like
Yeah.
that was like word for word what happened. And Myles Garrett fucking showed you, bro. He fucking
Yes, he
showed you.
did.
And you said the Dolphins. The Dolphins take was impressive because how you described it. You described it word for word what was going to happen. That things were going to kind of slide down fast for them. They did build up, but they did lose their coach. So at the end of the day, you were spot on. TJ, man, worst, best takes. Also, you can call out someone else's takes as well. Whatever you can remember from the year. Of course, if you pick yourself, that's fine too.
Yeah, so my personal least favorite take of my own was going on a salt the earth rant about Harold Fannin getting drafted by the Browns. Uh, I at the time did not like that choice too much. The old doubling up on a tight end when you have Njoku, but I was clouded. I was clouded in my Browns takes at that point. So Fannin ended up being pretty much our best offensive player, the only offensive player that contributed this year. So I would say that. I'd say I'm embarrassed of my Harold Fannin take. And then I wanted to bring up too, your guys' take early on Ashton Genty. I I think all of you were like pretty ready for Genty to be rookie of the year, especially Mike. Mike sticks out in my head.
Not this
Mike
guy. Sorry, keep
Mike
going.
said
Not this guy.
no,
I'll stand on
we're
that.
I forget what the question was that got asked, but Mike goes, "Yeah, he's going to be really fucking good." And I was like, "Oh no." Oh, I went back and listened to some of the old shows and I'm like, "Oh, the Genty thing sticks out to me." So,
Yeah.
between those two, man, I had a lot of fun going back through the old shows and checking out some of the wild shit we said.
Oh, I'll have some more to rattle you guys' brains. We got some dumb ones and smart ones. What do you think, Eric, man? What predictions that you thought were
My
interesting?
absolute worst take was on our first college football pod. I said, if the Cleveland Browns have the first overall pick tomorrow, I draft Cade Klubnik.
I think we all said that for the
And
most
oh, dude,
part.
I
Yeah,
think four of the five of us had Clemson in the national championship
yeah.
last year
Yep.
going into the season.
Yep.
My best take, I feel like I was a little early on the Bears. Not that they killed it, but I said that,
You were spot
that
on.
I said that Ben Johnson and Williams would be fun and like that ball of clay for him's good. We were all out there with Denver, so I don't want to call that one a good take. I'd like the Browns draft class or after the draft, and I feel like I
Yep.
still feel good about that draft class going into this year. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I'm trying to think if I had another just awful take. The Cade Klubnik one sticks to my mind because of how bad he played this year.
Yeah.
That one
That
really
one.
sticks
And you
out to
guys
me.
nailed the Brown stuff, really. I know
Hmm.
really the only gripe is literally probably Clark, but Clark's our personality when it comes to the Browns. I don't want Clark to change that. Like he
Yeah.
needs to be that guy. That Skip Bayless, you know what I mean? Like stay dedicated to the hate, you know what I'm saying? Like even if it's blind. But everything else we were spot on with, especially with the Browns. You guys like I was looking at the draft episode as well and like and everything else, like you guys just really had good expectations. And honestly, I think the Browns oversold some of your expectations. The rookies played fucking balls out.
Oh yeah.
You had defense player rookie of the year we were talking about last week, and you had the defense player of the year. That's not a bad season, man. And you're going in with a new coach. You found your quarterback in Shadurt. No, I'm joking. I still stand by. I had a couple positive Shadur takes that are wait to be TBD. I just said he was mentally strong enough to deal with the the media side of things, and I think I was kind of right about that. So I think it could have blew up a lot worse with how the season went.
No, we just got to see if
Um,
he's actually skilled enough
yeah, exactly,
physically.
exactly. My worst take by far, I said Seattle wouldn't do shit, and I said New England wouldn't be that good in the same sentence. Um, Literally the same rant. So that's probably spot on of being terrible. I said quarterbacks cannot have a third stint anywhere. It's impossible in NFL history. It's never happened. Still eating my words with a lot of those type of things. We were sold on Denver, but I think the part that was exciting is that we were sold on Bo Nix, and I think we kind of looked smart about that. I think we did. Going into the college football stuff, yes. Keegan said OSU, Clemson, Klubnik winning the Heisman. Clark said Notre Dame would win the national championship, and his Heisman would be Jeremiah Smith. Eric said OSU versus Clemson, also Jeremiah Smith, and he said specifically, Sayin will get it the next year. I love that. I want Jeremiah Smith's gonna get it this year because we know Sayin's gonna get it next year. Like that's awesome. That part ain't happening. Jeremiah Smith could still do it. I just well, I'll keep my haters stuff. This is about good times, not the future, Jack. Relax.
Happiness.
Um, One of my other favorite takes, TJ said OSU versus LSU and went on a beautiful little rant about how productive LSU's offense is going to be, how stellar their quarterback is. And then I reminded him who their coach was, and then Brian Kelly was literally fired like 5 weeks later,
Yeah.
which was awesome. I also said, and then he said Jeremiah Smith would be the Heisman winner, and that Jeremiah Smith is the best college football player in the last 10 years, bar none. And then he said that they're going to have to double team him every single play like Calvin Johnson by the end of the year. Little TBD on that. Let's wait a little bit. 10 years? That's crazy. I mean, I'm pretty sure Reggie Bush was just getting out the door by then, so we still got him on the list. I just want to call that one. I have my own. Here we go. I said Notre Dame versus Clemson because I wanted it selfishly for the Clemson Notre Dame rivalry that's kicking up. I think I'm still gonna. I think it's like a Kyle Pitts situation. I was looking. I think this year I'm still gonna say Clemson's gonna be our dark horse. I think I'm gonna say it every fucking year until it happens, as long as Dabo Sweeney's there. I'm like, I don't think you,
100%.
like. I just think it's too exciting in a certain way. I said Jeremiah Love or Jeremiah Smith. I wanted to see a skill player in there for the Heisman. And then I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Arch Manning just wins it. I mean, and we saw him kind of struggle throughout the year. I was definitely wrong a little bit, but the reason why I said he was going to win it was more because if he's playing anywhere as good as people are saying, the media is going to give him the Heisman every time. I still think that could happen next year by far. If he plays even 80% to what they think he is, that motherfucker's win the Heisman. I just don't see it. But you never know. No one even knew who the fuck Mendoza was. And if you act like you knew who the fuck Mendoza was
Yeah.
before this year, I mean, shout out to you for watching Cal football, I guess. Like, that's wild. I mean, that's dedication. I've met people like Eric and TJ, though. Like, they might have. Let me continue with a couple more fun ones real quick of the worst and best before we move forward with more involvement with the boys. Keegan predicted more wild card stuff with the Lions. He also predicted Hutchinson would be Defensive Player of the Year. He's hungry after breaking his leg. Myles Garrett heard that and said, "Hold my beer. That's not going to happen." Keegan also said a big year for JMO and I thought that was kind of spot on. Jameson kind of came into his own as wide receiver this year, and he said Gibbs would struggle a bit. Also kind of spot on. Eric said what he was saying about the Bears and Broncos. Before the season started, you guys were predicting the conference. You kind of nailed that. We have the Ravens to win the conference, but the Steelers are a tricky situation. Kind of exactly what happened. They literally went down to the wire of who was going to win that, and no one respected the Bengals. Eric brought up, is the Niners floor the second round of the playoffs? I think so. Look at this year.
Yeah. That's actually a great example. That's like through the injuries and all the other shit. Very good.
With the same kind of conversations with the Genty stuff, we did predict that the Chiefs would struggle. We didn't know the Chiefs would struggle this bad, but we did say that the conference or the division's getting tougher. But we did not predict what happened because we still said the Chiefs were the Chiefs, right? And then like TJ, he was spot on. He said the NFC is going to be a wood chipper this year. This is before week 1, so no games have been played. TJ was already predicting the NFC is going to be a wood chipper. The AFC's already figured out, and that's literally how the year kept going. Another fun bit real quick. We got a couple more. TJ called it with Bill Belichick. He's like, bro, we'll know if we see how he's dressed on the sidelines, if he's in or not. He said if he has the hoodie, he's in. If he fucking was wearing a polo and this and that, nah, he ain't good. And we were dogging him for his gold digging situation. And I said that if Bill fails this year, my whole foundation as an NFL fan crumbles. I don't really know if I feel like that right now as we stand today, but it does bother me. It does. It does bother me. And Tom Brady doing his little fake, like, celebrations over this. Tom Brady's a fucking fraud. Remember, Jack, stay on the past. Stay on the past. Eric called out the rookie tight end class as well. I thought that was pretty spot on. They pretty much balled out, the ones we were looking at. NFL job turnover. We predicted the worst teams. Clark gave his already. I gave mine. Eric and TJ said the Saints. And TJ said point blank, if the Saints win 7 games, it's a gift from God. Well, it looks like God's handing out gifts this year, which is pretty cool to think about. You know what I mean? And you know what's even more fun about that is when we asked TJ last week, what team is going to shock the people the most and have the biggest upside after this past year? He said the Saints.
Hey, I'm paying attention, man.
That's what I'm saying. I love it. I love it. I love
I got
it. That's
my
what I'm
ear
saying.
to the streets, man. I know what the fuck's going on. Come on now.
That's what I'm saying. I love it. And he predicted the Vikings would blow up, which I thought was just fun. That's some of our random wild predictions. So those were our wild predictions from before. Let's add some more right now and look into the future for a little bit. Right now, 2 early predictions for next year. We kind of touched on this last week. We can retouch again on it now that we have Eric here. And I want to be a little bit more specific about this. So we're going to do 2 early predictions of our favorite teams. So your college and NFL, of course. And I want their specific record, how the season will end, and don't be scared to go in a little bit of detail if you have to, or be really odd and specific and random because you know how shit pops off. Because shit does pop off. I'll start with the boys. Clark, early predictions. Irish, Browns. What's the record? What happens with both of them? Way too early. You don't have to think too hard about it, but also don't be dumb because apparently we're taking account of everything we say now. So this might come back to bite you.
Browns, I'm thinking they're gonna stick around 500 this season. I think they have the weakest schedule in the NFL coming up. Uh, Very dependent on quarterback play. If we get some decent quarterback play, the defense mostly returning, some good younger guys on the offensive side of the ball. Judkins' health I think is going to help a lot too if he can come back healthy and ready to go. I saw today he's out of the walking boot and should be good to ready for the start of camp. I put them around 500, maybe even a similar record to this season, maybe a few games under. Uh, Irish. I think the floor for them should be at least semifinals of the college football. Truthfully, easy. Our schedule is fucking easy. We really have one regular season test in Miami, which I think is not going to be as good as last year. I think hopefully we go in there, blow them the fuck out. Marcus should have them motivated to go. Strong start to the season. Uh, like I said, it's too early to predict. I don't know what the college football landscape look at the time, but I would be very surprised if they don't make it at least to the semifinals. They got a great team coming back. Hopefully, some of our young running backs will step up. I have faith they will. I think we got some really good guys on the roster. I know some incoming freshmen that are going to be looking pretty good. A lot of guys returning. Some great transfers of the receiver class. Very big upside from Notre Dame this season.
Oh, fucking yeah, dude. Notre Dame was tricky, right? Because
Yeah, it is
there
tricky.
is upside. It's just like, what does it look like? I like the semifinal prediction. That's why I want
Yeah.
to see like what's the end. It's kind of easy to say something, but when you say how the season ends, that's actually a tough prediction for anything, NFL or college. TJ, what we think, man? Brownies. We're going into this year. We kind of got new hopes. We got a new coach. The defense was just amazing last year. Hoping to keep that up again this year. And Ohio State always lingering around. What do we got? And I want you, and then we'll go to Eric because you guys are going to cover the same teams here. So don't be scared to kind of copy each other with your own thoughts.
All right. So starting with the Browns, man, I think I would put so what I would expect from the Browns is improvements I incrementally, like very small improvements from here on out. Like I don't think we're going to see like a wholesale Cleveland Browns in the playoffs next season, but I would expect to be a little bit better, than last year, especially after what I feel in my gut is going to be a good draft for us with two picks in the first round. Uh, Cleveland Browns, give me over under 7 wins, 7.5 wins, 8 wins, something like that. I think, like Mike said, with the strength of schedule, I think there's definitely some games next year we can take advantage of. And if the offense looks even a little bit better than it did this past season, then I would expect that, honestly, 7, 8 wins. And then for the Ohio State Buckeyes, man, it might be a bit of an unpopular opinion. Um, I could see the Buckeyes losing two regular season games next season. We got a tough schedule with four big ass games. Oregon, Michigan at the end of the season, Texas at the beginning of the season. Indiana is another big one. I could see it kind of a reverse of this past season where we kind of hit our snags when it counted, like this last season. I could see next year perhaps we hit the snags early on instead and spend the rest of the year trying to like recover from that and kind of try to improve. As far as like personnel and players, we got a lot of really great players returning. Saying I would expect to be better. Jeremiah Smith is Jeremiah Smith. But we're also losing a lot of very important guys, like especially on defense with like Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles leaving. Those are tough guys to replace, not in the talent category. Like this is Ohio State. We can get talented players, but in what they meant to the team and the system and being like a veteran presence like a Sonny Styles was, I really think we might hit some snags trying to replace those guys with young cats.
What do you think about that, Eric? Going off of those two predictions
Yeah,
like that?
I'll go off Ohio State since you just started. I literally wrote down. I think they go 10-2 in the regular season just because that schedule, and most of them are away too. Like we get Oregon and Michigan at home. I don't know what I expect Michigan to be next year, especially even though I do like Whittingham. I said in this pod that I thought he was a lucky ass hire for how long they waited to fire Jerome. And then Oregon, we know Oregon will be good. Then you're at Texas, at Iowa, at Indiana, at USC. And part of me kind of wants Ohio State to not get beat up, but maybe lose a game they shouldn't in the regular season because it's pretty evident that Ryan Day almost needs that to happen for him to clock the fuck in and go on demon time. You know what I mean? So I think the offense will almost have to be like what the defense was for the Buckeyes this year. Like if the Buckeyes have a couple slow starting games with that defense, because like TJ said, they're replacing not only skill but a lot of experience, a ton of experience on that team. Not to mention what three D linemen we lost to that started that we like TJ just didn't mention. Like we lost Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, and I think three stars on the D line. So I
Caden
think
McDonald, who's going to be
yep,
a first round
Yeah.
pick, you
Cade,
know.
yep, yeah. And so I think it's going to be like I think the defense could start slow in a couple games. You're going to need your offense to turn it up more, which they didn't have to do this year. So I think you're going to put Say in more uncomfortable spots early, which I think could be good for the team. But yeah, I mean, 10-2, 11-1. They obviously make the playoffs. I couldn't stomach it if they went 10-2 and depending on loss. But yeah, that's what I got in Ohio State, man. I don't got any super hot takes about them yet. Like I hope the run game's better. I do want to say that. I hope the O line play and the run game's better. The O line play was fine until they played teams of like Miami's talent last year and Indiana's talent. That's where you could that's where the guards got sniffed out a little bit. That's where saying could get picked on a little bit. Browns wise, I wish I could say this in 3 weeks when I see free agency, but um yeah, I think like, dude, the road to 8 games is 8 wins isn't that hard for them with that defense. Like, if I don't have the schedule pulled up in front of me, but if they would have scored 21 points this year, they probably would have won what three more games if they could have managed to score 21 points in the game. So like the defense is gonna do what they do. The first time head coach, I'd be really surprised if he's hitching his wagon for his first year at one of the quarterbacks in the room. I know you guys are tired of me saying Malik Willis's name at this point, but I think that's going to be a storyline to watch up until free agency actually starts because he's going to fit the Monken system. But yeah, I mean, I want the rookies to take another step. I'm excited for Fannin to actually get like his own role, especially without Njoku being there. They need to find a blocking tight end to pair up with him, and they're going to have to spend a shit ton of money on the offensive line, and that's why I think they could play the draft kind of conservatively. Like if anyone calls for pick six, I think the Browns would trade down in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I
If it included a first next year, especially because a first in next year's class is going to have a lot more big game hunting than this year's class will. So I think that they might be conservative and like just take best player available if you don't love a trade. Like if you're sitting there at six and Caleb Downs is staring you in the face, I know a lot of Browns fans, including me, would be pissed off because of how bad the offense is. But it's just like it's no one's calling the trade off. We like take best player available. That's what bad teams should do. You know, that's the teams like the Jags and the Pats did the last couple of years. So yeah, man, I'm not gonna say I love Munkin yet, but the more he talks, the more I like. But I think it's because the personality set is so different from Stefanski that I think anyone with a little bit of that football personality, like that real kind of hard ass, like don't want to bullshit. I think that's why he's a breath of fresh air for Cleveland right now. And we'll see how it goes. But I think they win more games than they did this year. That's not hard to do, but I just think the offense gets a little bit better. The defense stays. If the offense could be middle of the pack, the defense could go down a level and they'd still win more games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and before I start mine, I had this for the question thing later, but this is kind of perfect. I'm gonna ask both of you. What is more likely, the Browns getting 10 plus wins or OSU only winning sub 10, so like 8 to 9 wins
Ooh.
because of that tough schedule? What's more likely? 10 wins by the Browns or under 10 for the Ohio State?
I'd, I'd say 10 wins for the Browns, man. I'm confident in Ohio State. I just am. Like the Ryan Day's hit his stride, especially regular season games. And like, yeah, that schedule's tough, but like if you're telling me we lost to Texas and Indiana, cool. That I just don't think that mean we lose to Oregon at home. Or if you told me, then you're talking about losing like USC or Iowa. And it's like no fucking way.
Or
You
Michigan?
know what I
That's what I
mean?
was saying. Like that's
Yeah,
gonna.
yeah.
What do you think, TJ? Like I just think that I had that written down as I thought because Ohio State's tough schedule. You usually don't get to ask that question. Who's gonna win more games, or who's more likely to win 10? That's easy. That's Ohio State. But which one's more likely? Can the Browns push up to 10 plus wins? And I mean, not just 10, maybe 10 plus, or Ohio State being sub 10 because of the tough schedule.
Well, See, I like the question and I like how you worded it because you said more likely. I don't think either of them is particularly likely,
No.
like in any scenario. So,
Yep.
why for the listeners, like we're clarifying that, you know. I think 10 wins for the Browns because I could see a situation in a Magic fantasy realm where the Browns get 11 wins
Yeah.
and you went back and you said, "Tej, I'm from the future. The Browns got 11 wins. How do you think it happened?" I think it would be like the division kind of imploding. Maybe Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Maybe the Ravens don't come back. Since he's unstable, Burrow seems to have some injury stuff. Like Eric said, I just can't see the Bucks dropping like three of the five tough games. I could see like, Texas, maybe Indiana, but I think especially after the playoff game, hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass, but I think we have Oregon's card as far as that matchup goes, and I think we're going to be trending in the right way for Michigan now too. So I say the Browns over 10 wins, man.
Hell yeah. No, I feel that. For the Oregon game, we'll have to get together, get Keegan down here, maybe go get your boys down to Columbus. You know what I'm saying? That'd be kind of fun. Oregon, Ohio State, that'd be a good time. My early predictions, man, I don't care if I'm delusional. I'm allowed to be. But I'm gonna be specific about this. I think Notre Dame's got their lightning in a bottle, and that's it. I think we could go into. I think it's a lot like Michigan right now. It feels like Michigan. Now, take the scandal out and all that stuff. But it does feel like the rev up of what Harbaugh did at Michigan is going to happen for Freeman here at Notre Dame. I think that we can run it. I think we go undefeated. I also think we have a good chance at the championship and winning it all. But on top of all that, I could definitely see us losing him right after this. So
Yeah.
we're gonna win the championship. We're gonna have all the accolades with it. And just like I mean, Harbaugh left for a different reason, of course. He was in trouble in the whole 9 yards. But everyone wants to coach the NFL. There was 10 jobs open this past year. Freeman's gonna get the next set if there's another 10 jobs open. And I predict Notre Dame's gonna finally have their year of the century. But that's all it's going to be. I think we're going to go back to winning 9 games, trying to get to 10-2. But we're going to get our lightning in a bottle, and it's going to be just like Harbaugh was with Michigan.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Would you accept 10 years after this? If we win it big this year, would you be happy? Let's say go 5. 5 years of not mediocrity, but average to above average play. Would you accept that for a championship this season
Yes.
as a fan?
Now the reason why is because one, I was scared of the NIL era for Notre Dame when it first happened,
Yeah.
and then that ended up paying off better for us.
Hmm.
We've had a really strong start to this era, so we can afford to kind of fall off the wagon if we win a championship.
Okay.
Also, I look at like we still praise Brady Quinn like they won a championship even though they
Yeah.
didn't.
Very
And
good
then we
point.
went through the Jimmy Clausen years and then all the shit and then we were barely making 500 some years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I was buying NCAA games. Notre Dame wasn't even ranked week one of the game coming out. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Trust
So
me, I
like
fucking yeah, I
like
was right there with you.
if we got to go back to those type of things, Eric TJ, I don't know if you guys heard, I'm predicting Notre Dame to have its Harbaugh Michigan year. Take out the scandals though, we ain't gonna do all that.
Yeah,
But
hopefully not.
I see us running the table with
Lightning
his
in a
full
bottle,
program.
like you said,
Yep,
Yeah.
lightning in a bottle.
and then he's out of here. He's coaching for somebody else in the
Okay, I
NFL.
got a question for you. So Notre Dame Natty or the San Francisco Niners Super Bowl
Ooh.
appearance? Let's not say win it. Let's just say to appear in. Which one would you be more confident in right now, Jack? Between the Niners going to the Super Bowl, just appearing, not winning for either team, and then
So if
the
either
Flying
one got
Irish
if
going
either one
to
got a chance, which one I'm banking on to win? Like
yeah.
each
Which one you'd be more willing to
Niners.
bet on? Niners.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll get into like my Niners prediction is I just don't see us now. Knock on wood, whatever. TJ said it best with CJ Stroud. I just don't see the Niners having just as much bad luck next year.
Hmm.
I don't. And if we had that much bad luck and we lost to the Super Bowl champs, wow, who gives? And then we beat the defending champs. Not a bad place to be in. I I actually this next year is going to fucking be really stressful for me because I think I could watch both of my teams win their championships next year. And it's not
Hmm.
always the case, right? But like that's what we're looking at here. I think the Niners win the division. I think the Rams start to hit their wall a little bit with what they're trying to deal with Matt Stafford. I think Arizona steals wins from all four of the teams next year more than they did last year. And I just still don't fucking have faith in Seattle. I don't give a fuck. I never will. They fucking suck. Like I don't even know how anybody let them win the championship. You know what I mean? I know the Niners lost to him too, but like it wasn't just on us. Someone else could have beat him. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to just be us. Fuck the fucking Seahawks. But I think the Niners, without a doubt, at least make the NFC Championship game. And
Okay.
I think also it could be. I know I'm talking about Seattle, but I think the NFC West runs it back again. I think you'll see three out of the four teams in the Final Four again for the NFC, and I'm excited for that. Best chance win game. So that we kind of already getting into that a little bit with this. So I'm excited for this. This is going to be a little bit more random too, boys. So I'm going to be kind of calling each one of you out of ones that I thought were good for that specific person. But I'm also going to make sure we go around the board for a lot of these too, so y'all can answer them. But we won't start off with the same person every time because I have some of these written out for the person specifically, and I want to use them being caught off guard a little bit as our anchor because maybe this is more of their subject or just something for them to think about. This one's going to go to all of you guys, and I will just start with Clark, then go to TJ, then go to Eric. Who has the better chance to make the playoff? The Cleveland Browns or one of the three NFC South teams that didn't make the playoff this past year? So not counting Carolina, or you can count Carolina. So who has the better chance? One of the lower end NFC South teams or the Browns? Who has a better chance to make the playoff next year? Start with you, Clark.
I'll go NFC South. I think with that division being probably a little overall weaker, now barring injuries from the AFC North, I think one of those like Buccaneers, even TJ said like this fucking Saints. That's a team that could really rise up. I think a lot of people are sleeping a little bit on Tyler Shuck. He had a great second half of the season. I'm taking them
So let
over
me
the Browns.
simplify it. I love that you say that because I'm gonna simplify it down a little bit more for the guys. I think you're still gonna stick with your answer. We'll go TJ next. So this is not counting. I don't want to count Carolina or Tampa Bay in this because I
Yeah.
just don't. They're automatic
Okay.
bids. In my
Okay.
opinion, they're
Okay.
automatic bids. Those two will
Yep.
always compete for that
Yeah.
automatic bid spot.
Yeah.
So it's more for Atlanta and the Saints than anything else because I don't
Ooh.
think they're going to
I,
compete for that spot like Carolina and Tampa Bay will.
absolutely. Then I'll keep my same answer. Give me NFC South for sure.
All right, what do you think, TJ?
Yeah, I think NFC South too, man. I think you got two things working for you. I think the Saints are building a good core, like a good young core of players. And then the other thing working for the NFC South is that I'm sure whoever's pulling the strings of this universe is going to spite me and give Kevin Stefanski 12 wins with fucking Atlanta in a playoff berth. So I'll go with NFC South, man.
Hell yeah. So that was gonna be the original question, but I kind of broadened it out. It was like, who has a better chance, Kevin Stefanski or the Browns? But I just don't want to say any bad voodoo because I think Bijan Robinson might be Offensive Player of the Year next year
Oh
type
fuck
shit.
yeah! I'm
Like
putting
it's
all.
just no
Yeah.
joke. Like I just don't want to rub more salt on your guys' wound. Let's let
Yeah.
that play out, and then we can bullshit about it while we watch it in live action. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I'm
Browns
going.
or
I'm going NFC South as well. My bad, interrupting you there,
no? You're
bro.
good. No.
I just think that you could sleepwalk to 6 wins in that division. You know what I mean? Where like the Browns, it's like if the Bengals stay healthy, if the Ravens stayed healthy, if Pittsburgh brings Rodgers back and whatever the fuck they get from Big Mike, like the Browns could win 3 games in the division. We'd all feel fine about it. If you're an NFC South team, I feel like if you don't win at least 5 games in that division, you're like, hey, what the fuck are we doing? I'm sorry. 4 games. I was thinking 8 games. I had that math wrong. But that's I
Yeah.
just think you can sleepwalk to wins in that division specifically. And you could go, 4-2 in that division and get into the playoffs with a 8-win record. You know what I mean?
100%. So these questions lined up are playoff edition. Probably should have started that first. So a lot of these are gonna be playoff stuff first. Who has a better chance to win a college football playoff game next year? Not go that far or make it. Win a college football playoff game. A two-loss blue blood or one of these chaotic two-loss conference champions. So that goes with like Clemson, SMU, any of those schools that are on the bubble, Virginia. Who has a better chance to win that playoff game? A two-loss blue blood or one of those chaotic teams next year? Because they're bound to. We kind of had it easy the last 2 years with the predictions, right? Like we knew SMU wouldn't beat Penn State, we knew Boise wouldn't win, type shit. What do we think for next year, though? Who knows? Clark, start with you.
Give me one of the chaotic teams. I think sooner or later somebody's get caught off guard, right? Just by the law of averages, I'll call it. One of these teams is going to come in here and win. It might not be a fucking, it'll be a close win. It'll might like last second fucking field goal or a big play towards the end of the game to swing the favor. But sooner or later, it's got to happen, right? There's been enough games played now that one hasn't done it. It's already crazy enough to me. The way college football is.
100%. All right, TJ, we'll go with you. We'll keep the order.
Yeah, listen, I agree with Mike. I think the two loss like off the wall weird teams. I you can't argue with the fact that like Mike said it hasn't really happened yet.
Mhm.
So I think predicting that any year in the next 10 years is a safe bet. Like I wouldn't call you crazy for predicting that, 5 years from now. It's just, it's going to happen eventually. And it's going to be a team like Virginia that just catches fire and takes off, and just mugs a team in the first round before they knew what hit them.
Yeah, dude, that'd be just so fucking electric. What do you think? What do you think, Eric? Because to me, I'll put a little caveat on this. I still go with the blue blood teams for now until I see it. I'm one of those
Yeah.
guys. I have to see it to believe it. What do you think, Eric?
Jackie, what do you always say? You said this so many times on the pod, off the pod, and hang out with you. Blue bloods for a reason. I'm
Yep.
going with the blue bloods. Like let's put it in this year's terms. Would that be like BYU or like
Yep.
Vandy
Yep.
Yeah.
playing one of the playoff teams? And I think almost all the teams in the playoffs would have beat those outside of the two that we all agreed shouldn't have got in anyway
Yeah.
the day they
Tulane,
got
James
in.
Madison.
So
Yeah.
that's the way I'm looking at it. So I'll go with blue bloods. I'll stick with the blue bloods.
I will say also Miami kind of already showed us, but I don't count Miami. So that was going to use Miami's kind of the asterisk. They kind of gave the blueprint, I think, of what teams are
Yeah,
going to do
absolutely.
to maybe counteract that. But I also consider Miami one of those light blue bloods. Like they're not blue bloods, but it's a light blue tint to it. You know what I'm
It wasn't
saying?
as shocking that they did it compared to somebody like a Vanderbilt, right? They've
Yeah.
done it both. They've won before, won the big ones before. Now it's been a while, but I wasn't completely shocked, like my jaw dropped. I can't believe they're winning all these games.
I do hope, dude, maybe we should look at the calendar. Duke against Miami next year could be fucking electric if Duke fucking says, fuck this, we're the conference champs. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
fucking,
absolutely.
that'd
That
be a,
quarterback went. I didn't even think about that quarterback went to Miami too. So that game's gonna be
Yeah.
fun as all hell.
yeah, that's gonna be one of those games. And, Duke's been not that bad in the last couple of years. Alrighty. This one, actually, I'm glad Keegan's not here because I didn't want Keegan to answer this. And this is where I start changing the order up because I'm going to go off expertise of what I think and also their brains. Who is more likely to host a playoff game next year, the Lions or the Niners? I'm going to start with Eric here. We're going to work around that backwards a little bit because I just know Eric kind of looks at these teams subjectively. And we'll go around the circle. I'll go TJ next and Clark. What do you think, Eric?
Oh man, that's a good one. I'll go Niners. I don't want to be a
Both
Lions hater
divisions
here,
are
but
stupid, though. You know
that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying?
saying. It's not like you can really count on one being down or up. Really, like they're both. I'm not gonna say divisions are equal because of the playoffs we just had, but the Niners have been there, done it before. I think I'm more confident in golf than I am, or more confident in Purdy than I am golf if they both stay healthy. If they both stay healthy, I think the Niners are better up front too. Maybe I'll give the offensive line nod to the Lions, but yeah, I'd go Niners. I feel safer betting on the Niners.
What do you think, TJ?
Yeah, I think I got to go Lions, man. And I think it just comes down to the division. I don't predict like the Seattle fall off. I think they're going to be really good for the immediate future. I think you get another year of Stafford and Puka connection before it's time for those guys to kind of reset and rebuild and retire. And really, I'm playing the numbers game, man. You got three playoff teams in your guys' division against the Niners, and you got two probably, in the NFC North with the Lions. So yeah, I think the Lions.
Let's go. What do you think, Clark?
Niners. We talked
Yep,
earlier
that's why I
about
didn't go with him first.
we talked. Well, I really agree with Eric's. I think we even said it earlier. Like you're talking about one of his takes of them, their floor being a second round playoff team, and I think that's incredibly true. They're only going to get healthier. Uh, and one thing that I think I'd lean on more in this than anything is I know the game against Seattle was a fucking rough game to watch, but watching Brock Purdy go out there and play his fucking balls off. I mean, I had great stats. I watched that dude run around and play his fucking ass off the whole game to just even will his team to get fucking 3 points. That's the kind of shit I love when it comes to football. Dudes like that I know is gonna lay it out all on the line. And not saying that Jared Goff won't either. I just don't see him tapping into something like that. Hopefully CMC can stay healthy another year. They hopefully doesn't have nearly as many touches just for health reasons. Get your guys' defense healthy again. Fred Warner's back tearing it up. I just would be very surprised not to see him sitting on top of the division with the home field.
Hell yeah. All right, we're gonna start this one with Clark first. We'll actually just reverse it. Who has a better chance to be left out of the playoff in college football next year? Now, I want you to think about the details around this. Who has a better chance of being left out? The SEC conference champion runner-up or Notre Dame, even though they have an automatic bid with an easy schedule if they're ranked in the top 12? Who has a better chance to not make the playoff? Because I think both of them are pretty almost solidified at 100%. So I just thought this was almost a more likely situation. What do you think, Clark?
Oh man. So to me, the most likely to not be let off would be the SEC frontrunner, truthfully. I think we saw this year how much they love the SEC, and like for Notre Dame not to be in the top 12 of the automatic bid, that means they had to drop a fucking bad game. And I just don't see that happening. So I think no matter what, that's a fucking tough question, dude. I don't know
Let
because
me throw a caveat in this real quick while you're working and for all you
Mhm.
guys to think of. I do think that people are going to look at the SEC slightly different because of the bias that's already happened. So they're going to publicly try to make it look more even. I think ESPN will do that. Also, I do think that recency bias plays a big part in this. And I will say, when you're dealing with the playoff committee, does the SEC struggles in bowl games the last 3 years play a part for them not gambling on in Alabama like they did? Even though Alabama won against OU, but OU looked like they shouldn't have been there, and Alabama looked like they shouldn't have been there. So who really gets to claim that
Ooh.
victory in the playoff, anyways? That's where I'm going at. And maybe I don't say runner up. Maybe we say third place SEC.
I think
We'll
that's
stick with
Okay.
better.
that.
I
Yeah,
think
let's stick
that's
with
I
third
better.
place. Yeah.
I think because I think we're gonna start seeing it's good like the main, especially Big Ten and SEC. We're gonna probably see no matter what two every year. I think just the way the playoffs have
Mhm.
shown out, I think definitely at that point you're more likely to see the SEC third team left out. They, like you said, they haven't been playing great in these bowl games. I think we're even culturally, like college football, we're seeing how much good the Big Ten really is. These last few years, the Big Ten teams, especially with Indiana rising up now, you always had Penn State hanging around. Michigan, when they've been good and didn't have all the bullshit going on, has been right there. I think we're starting to see that even though the SEC plays a much harder conference schedule, when push comes to shove, the Big Ten has been playing a lot better. So that if that's the question of the third team, I think we're going to see the SEC kind of start falling back a little bit, and they really have. And as we all been talking about the last few years, now that they have been doing the pre-NIL phase of paying their players, and they all fucking complained like Nick Saban was all fucking butthurt when Shane Gillis said that. It's the fucking truth. The table's a lot more even now, and a lot of these guys are leaving the SEC to go play somewhere else and get paid probably fucking more if they're worth it. So I think we're definitely going to see the SEC fall off a little bit when it comes to the college football playoff.
What do you think, TJ?
I think that's a tough ass question, man. Because I agree with what Mike said. If Notre Dame doesn't have an automatic like playoff bid, it means they lost to like Delaware or something like that. And that's tough, because I think the SEC at this point is like an old man's institution that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon because they're not going to let it go anywhere anytime soon. And I wouldn't rely on the playoff committee necessarily to like do predictable things. Like this year, I would call what they did unpredictable. So I don't have like a lot of faith in them to go like, oh yeah, these teams outside the SEC are better because that's what they should do. I honestly
Also,
get
Notre Dame has the most five stars ever. Like this ain't your normal Notre Dame team that will lose against Northern. This Notre Dame team would beat the fuck out of Riley Leonard's team in perspective.
yeah, let's go with SEC, man. Just
Yep.
based off the unpredictability of the committee,
Yep.
man. I think, weird shit is going to happen. There's going to need to be some legislative change in
Yeah.
how they do
Mhm.
things so we avoid this kind of shit.
I got some good ones cooking, boys. Trust me, I got some weird, just weird off the wall head scratchers. You know what I mean? Like you just don't think of. What do you think, Eric? A top 12 Notre Dame team gets left out, or the third place SEC team? What's more likely?
So if when you had it at second team, I was gonna say Notre Dame because I just put in my head
Yeah, yeah,
Notre
yeah.
Dame's Notre Dame's best game next year is Miami, right?
Yep, yep.
At home. So let's say Miami, they lost that game to Miami. And then the SEC runner up was Texas or Georgia with two losses. Like who we know who would win that battle, and it pisses us all off, don't get me wrong. But we know who they'd give the nod to the way they've acted
Yeah.
before. Third place team, I'll take the SEC with a better chance. The Notre Dame would have a better chance to make it, in my opinion, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
Than the third place SEC team, I think. Because I think Bama's going to take another step down. Georgia and Texas will be there, and then you just have so many weird teams. SEC. Bama could be good too. I don't know why. I feel like it's what do we say about the Dolphins all year? It's like you just feel like the bad vibes
Something
coming,
is
dude.
cooking there that's
Yeah,
not going to be good.
yeah.
I agree with you
And
100%.
you know they all hate the coach, so he's gonna go on to a full off season now, just hearing how much he sucks on the local radio all the fucking time. So I mean, this will be the year where either boom or bust, and there's no in between for Bama.
100%. All right, boys. We're going into awards and legacy is what I'm calling this one. Who has a better chance to win MVP next year in the NFL? A QB having a normal great year. So, like, the stats have been weird. Our quarterbacks don't put up stats like they used to. I mean, I saw a graphic the other day. It was like Drew Brees and someone else, and they're like neither one, or Matt Stafford and Drew Brees, and neither one were in top two for MVP that year, and they both broke 5,000 yards. And you know what I'm saying?
That's
But who has a better chance to win MVP? A quarterback having a normal great year next season, or a non-QB having a historical season? Now, the only reason I'm throwing that in there is because we're getting really close. I think Puka's getting right there with some of his stats, and Jigba showed that he's getting right there with some of his stats, and you just never know. I think this one's kind of an easier head scratcher, but I'm gonna start with TJ here. TJ, who has a more bigger chance to win MVP? A quarterback having a normal great year, or a historical season by a non-QB?
I think historical season by a non-quarterback, man. And the reason I think that is because I think the NFL, even though it's been a quarterback award for the last few years, it feels like we're primed for that life-changing season. And I don't think it's going to be a wide receiver. I think it'll be a running back.
Hmm.
The reason being because if you have a receiver like Puka that goes nuclear and has a historic season, he's not going to do it without also accumulating the stats for Matt Stafford. So
yeah.
I could see a running back like the season Saquon had a couple years ago, like have a historic season and come away being the MVP. I think the NFL is ready for that, man. I think they're ready for ready to push like this generation's superstar. And I think a running back would be primed to do it.
Hell yeah. What do we think, Clark? We'll go with you this time. Let's switch it up.
I agree. I at least like you talked about Bijan earlier. If he could break like the all-time like all-purpose yards for running back like Chris Johnson said, we had 2,600 yards, whatever it was. We see that happen. I think, especially with the average quarterback plays nowadays, the only way that doesn't like the quarterback play would win like the average over the running backs if they're on a good team. If like the year's best quarterback's like on a shitter team, he's just playing good stats. Give me the historic running back season, and I think we are close. Especially now with the way pass defense is, I think we're going to start seeing offenses lean a little bit back to getting their running back more involved. I was just looking at NFL mock draft, and we're seeing these running backs especially in the last 2 or 3 years, are finally going up the draft board. We're seeing that they're a top tier running back. Now, I know we did talk about a little bit during the Super Bowl that the Super Bowl winners all had these running backs that were, low tier in the cap space, but when we're talking about regular season, I don't think it really matters. We're going to see a superstar running back, someone like a Jonathan Taylor or a Bijan, have 2,000 yards rushing and 700 receiving, and I think they're going to win the MVP. I believe the last one was Peterson, right, to win a running back, win an MVP.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
And
and
let
then
me let me
that's why I
just
said
add,
normal great year too. I'm
Yeah.
glad you guys picked that up. We're not talking
Yeah.
Yeah,
about like a crazy quarterback season. They're
Yeah.
always going to
yeah.
win it.
let me
What do you
just
think,
add
TJ?
real quick on what Mike was saying too. The chart about successful teams having cheap running backs, a lot of that has to do with rookie deals, and I feel like that
Yeah.
gets lost. That an elite running back can be in the second year of their rookie deal or the third year of their rookie deal and
hmm
only be making, a
You
million
don't
and a
see
half
you don't
bucks.
see elite running backs in second contracts a lot of times, honestly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
especially not
yeah.
third contracts. That's when
No.
you're talking Hall of
Big
Fame
money.
guys. That's your
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, your Saquon. Like that's not Kenneth Walker. What's all due respect, to Kenneth Walker, he's about to get paid, but that doesn't. That was a good point, TJ. The
Give me
cap thing.
Jeremiah Love in 2 years, breaking the all-purpose yards
Well, if he
record for
goes to
running back.
Kansas City, bro,
He will,
it's
dude.
going to be stupid. He
I'm
goes to
telling you, he
Kansas
Yeah.
City.
will.
Eric, did you give your full point there? I was
No,
reading.
I agree. I agree with the guys. As long as you don't have someone that has like a Stafford year, like, and you have JSN. Like, I mean, JSN almost broke that receiving yards record. Wasn't he pretty close this year to breaking it?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he ended up 3 or 4 on the list. So, like, I'm just using him as an example. I'm not saying he's going to do that next year. I'm just saying that if you have a historic positional season and like the best quarterback is like, let's say like 32 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, barring it's Josh Allen who runs for fucking 14 or Lamar that can
Yeah.
run for 14 touchdowns. I think the position player, and I think he'd be good for the NFL, just like I always think he's good for college football. And you have a Heisman to do that, when it's not a quarterback guy. I just think it's healthy for the sport. It's good for the sport. It gets people invested in other storylines.
And one of the things that's really healthy about the sport that isn't talked about is you're starting to see a lot of good wide receivers stuck with mid quarterbacks. That used to be a problem when we were kids, and then you stopped seeing that for a while because guys were teaming up a little bit, front offices got smarter. But even like a guy like a Justin Jefferson, say the Vikings pushed for almost a wild card bid, and he breaks the record, and he's the only reason why they're there. That's a perfect scenario for someone like that.
Mhm.
Even Jamar Chase has shown glimpses that, to be honest with you, I think Jamar Chase is the most valuable player, not even Joe Burrow at the time. Because
I agree
like
completely.
it's just like after watching what I've seen, like I just think someone's lined up for that. And also like CMC off of TJ's point, like certain teams that need to lean on guys like that. I think if the Niners are really healthy and you can space them around, you just never know. Now, this next question is a little bit more open ended in the fact that I don't have a specific comparison of like, I mean, there are specific comparisons, but this one's gonna be a little quicker. There's a lot of Hall of Fame talk going on. So I was just thinking because the way the media is changing, the way we're viewing football is changing, who has a better chance to make the Hall of Fame in the future? A ringless legend or a role player with 2 rings? Start with Clark.
I think ringless legend. That's my answer. I just think that we'll see guys. It's hard to win a fucking Super Bowl, and look at like Stafford's almost didn't get that right. And if Stafford, I still think without winning the Super Bowl and having the MVP, I think he wins. I still think he's in the Hall of Fame at this point in his career. I do. I think the ringless legend's gonna is good would get in over the role player getting two.
See, but okay, I like that. This is what I'm thinking too. A little caveat here of I'm not disagreeing, but this is what I was thinking. This is why I'm not answering him, so I could be the mediator for these. Um, I also think that if Stafford would have just fell off the cliff with the Rams, say it didn't work, say he left the Lions, fell off the cliff, he's still in top 15 in whatever stats, still top 10 in certain other stats. Does he get more love than Julian Edelman? Football purist, we're always going to pick Matt Stafford, but that's not the people that pick the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Julian Edelman and people like that are the ones I'm thinking of. That in the way we view the Super Bowl now, it's Super Bowl or bust. It's the whole culture now. I just think that certain Super Bowl performances could stand out enough. But I'm also with you. I think in my heart of hearts, it's always going to be the ringless legend because I know too many of them. I think it's
Yeah.
Steven Jackson with the Rams. I think of guys like
Yeah.
that, like Frank Gore, like those
Yeah.
guys
That's a great
all
one. Yeah.
deserve that, but there's also the Julian Edelmans of the world that will get in because of that pristine, playoff record, Super Bowl record, and things of that nature. Eric, you're bobbing your head up and down, man. What do you think? Ringless legend or a role player with 2 rings in the future? Or I might as well just say, would it be? It's gonna be more common to see role players. I think that's why I'm asking this because you're gonna
So
see
I
that.
have a question to this. Can a Super Bowl quarterback be considered a role player, or are quarterbacks above that mark now?
I think it could be considered because let's just call it what it is. I know I'm a hater, but I'm calling it what it is. Sam Darnold was a role player on that team. He
And
wasn't the lead.
say he won another one at that level, that would play. Okay. So say he just went out there, had another like 2 touchdown game, nothing crazy. They won by a couple scores because the defense balled again. And let's say in 5 years down the road, hopefully these guys are all still in the NFL at this point, obviously. But we'd be matching up Sam Darnold to like Lamar and fucking Mahomes or Lamar and Darnold.
Well, look at
Allen, sorry, Allen. That's what I meant to say. And like, so I'll go with the legend just because like if you look at those two guys on the list,
yep,
it'll help too because we've remembered their college careers, remember their NFL careers. We'd all be like, oh, get him the fuck off this list, dude.
yeah.
That's the
But I
way I
love the
feel. I don't
point
know.
you bring up, Jack, because I don't know if somebody that's a football fan that doesn't really watch a lot like we do, they'd probably pick fucking Darnold, truthfully. Now I'm thinking about like the people that vote for that shit probably would take fucking Darnold over him. And I started thinking about the way you framed that. I think it's tough for us to answer that because we kind of are the football purists and we would pick those legend guys. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of the fan base we'd be surprised would probably pick a guy like Darnold over them because they did win the big game.
I mean, look at also we just watched Craig with the Niners. That's a
Yeah,
multi Super Bowl champion. That's someone that was setting records. We talked about him last week on the last episode. He's kind of, he waited forever.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So like, well, I don't think that's gonna happen like that anymore. I think that the guys like
Mhm.
that, they used to have to wait. I also think of TJ. Maybe you can help me because I always mess up his name. It starts with a P. Raiders quarterback in the '70s, won two Super Bowls, but never actually officially started with them. Kind of Samoan looking guy. Um, Not Plinkett,
Oh,
Plummet, Plinkett.
oh,
Anyways,
Plunkett,
Jim
Jim
Plunkett,
Plunkett.
yeah,
Yep,
I
there you
always think
go.
of him as like the prime example of like that's what Sam Darnold will be if he wins another one. That's all. That's all. Like that's just it's not a bad thing. It's just football almanac type shit. It repeats itself. TJ, with your thoughts on that, you're the last one with this one. Ringless legend or role player? You can answer quick. You don't have to be too long if you don't want to.
Dog, I'm gonna get on my old man soapbox real quick,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the game is becoming more and more selfish as the years go on, and I think like being on a winning team and being like a big part of that success, I think that's kind of going by the wayside in exchange for like personal statistics. And I think as like the generation under us grows up and starts getting into football media and stuff like that, I think these guys like the Super Bowl rings are not going to be considered. I think it's just going to be straight up whoever balls out the most, man, and whoever this guy has the most yards. I don't think Super Bowl wins are even going to be really considered anymore as like, hey, this guy has three rings, so he gets in over a guy that doesn't have any. You know, I kind of see where football's going, and I just don't think it's going to matter in the long run, man.
I think it's a coin flip because
yeah.
I think it used to matter more when there was less Super Bowls to count, but
Ooh, good point.
also I think now the way we look at things, especially the way they broadcast, Sam Darnold being there before his draft class,
Yeah.
I think that stuff sticks. It's gonna be interesting to see. We're in a transition period when it comes to that, regardless. This one's a fun one. Who has a better chance to get their own award named after him someday? A Mahomes type or generational defensive freak? So there's a lot of awards for offensively that will never probably be replaced, but I do think defensively there's some awards that could be replaced. You could call it the Miles Garrett Award if you're the sack leader type shit. That's kind of what I'm thinking of there. But who has more chance to have a trophy in their name, a Mahomes type or a defensive freak? We'll start with Clark.
Give me the defensive freak. I think we're going to see some eye-popping numbers from defenses these next few years. I think we're kind of like I said earlier, we're kind of shifting back towards defensive football really being the way to go. So I think give me right now, I think defensive freak for sure.
TJ?
I'm going to say defensive freak too, man. I'm going to say, and I think there's a good chance it's one of these like young superstar corners
Yeah.
that
Good call.
can
Good call.
yeah can take off in like a Pat Surtain Jr. corner award or a Christian
Hmm.
Gonzalez award for secondary play.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna. This is so tough. Anyone but Mahomes, I probably would have said the defensive player easy. But that trajectory, if he gets back on the trajectory he was on, like it's going to be hard to deny anything that people say about him. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'll go defensive player too because I feel like the obsession the NFL had with the offense all those years ago, or not all those years ago, but recent history. I almost feel like that's swinging back towards the defense now. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's going to be like the hot fun part is going to have these really good defenses and these defensive stars taking off. Like, what if Miles broke the sack record again? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, Miles, I think he needs 5 more seasons of 17 plus sacks to be the all-time sack leader. So, like, if we saw that happen, that'd be pretty crazy. Like, I don't know. I'll go defensive player just for shits and giggles.
Yep.
That's a
Yep.
fun one, though. That's a fun one.
All right, we'll try to make these little. I have a lot of good ones. So we'll try to be quicker with some of these ones because they're easier to answer. Um, who has a better chance to implode first? Because it's more hypothetical overall for next year. Who has a better chance to implode first? A team with a rookie quarterback next season or a team with coaching drama? We'll start with you, Eric, actually. We'll reverse it.
A team with, say that again. I'm sorry.
A team
My
with a
girl was in
rookie
the room.
quarterback will implode first or a team with coaching drama? We have a lot of coaching turnover, so I think the drama is going to be very interesting next year.
Ooh.
And the rookie class is kind
They,
of piss poor. So,
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm thinking. Mendoza is the only rookie that we're going to be talking about all season.
Yeah.
So I'll say, I'm going to say coaching just because there's so many that got hired this cycle.
Yeah.
Then Mendoza can implode at Las Vegas, and no one would be surprised because of how bad the Vegas
Yeah.
has been. So I'll go coaching.
That's also why I asked that because I was thinking how bad the Raiders are. Like just because
Yeah.
it's not his fault they implode, but they will just probably implode if they do. TJ, what do you think? Who's gonna implode first? Rookie quarterback team or coaching drama?
Coaching drama, man, because like Eric said, with Mendoza being the only like top end quarterback, the standard is not going to be very high for him taking over a Raiders team that was fucking terrible last year. So I could see one of the coaching hires going just terribly wrong.
What do you think, Clark?
Coaching drama. Most bad
Yep.
teams have a rookie quarterback due to the draft. Coaching drama could be any team.
And then going off of that, we'll start over with the same order. I'll go to Eric. Who has a better chance to be fired? Who has a better chance to fire their coach mid-season next year? A playoff hopeful team underperforming, or a full rebuild squad with those 2 or 10 new coaches?
I think the veteran coach, because there's going to be a lot less guys hired next cycle. Just statistically, that's going to be the case. So if you want to go big game hunting, I feel like next year will be the year to do it if you're a team that's kind of weeble wobbling on the same guy.
Yep. What do you think, TJ?
I think one of the new hires. I think you could see a team kind of like the Bills. Like if Joe Brady doesn't work out immediately, that they jump off the wagon at week 7 and move on.
I was thinking he was one that was big. Like whose has the
Yeah.
turnover that's similar? His is probably the best case because it's the same type of staff. What do you think, Clark?
One of the new coaching changes, the teams will want to cut off early and get on to next season.
I think it's a tough one because when I was writing that out, I was seeing Eric's point first because I'm like, you know what? I think these other rebuilds are gonna keep giving these guys chances. I think after
Hmm.
this year because they sold out to get them, no matter what's going on. And I do think that the NFL has changed. Like if you're underperforming, it's a big fucking deal. It really
Yeah,
is.
and that Buffalo situation specifically, like underperforming for him is such a high floor to hit. Like if they're not in the AFC Championship, they're going to be calling for his head
Yeah,
for a first-time head coach. That is fucking absurd.
yeah, it's fucking crazy. Alrighty. So I'm skipping over a few I have here because I have a couple that are fun. Um, you know what? Uh, I'll do some of the fun unhinged ones from the deep for you boys. I start with Eric in this one. Who has a better chance? TJ wearing the brown bag again early within the first 5 weeks, or Sir Michael Clark hitting the first 5 weeks predictions perfectly? What do you think, Eric? You go first since this one's not on
TJ's brown bag for
in the first
sure.
five
Yeah.
weeks.
TJ's brown bag for
That's gonna be
sure.
a 3-0.
And credit, I
Uh,
want to give Mike credit here because I don't know what Mike I'm gonna get at week 2 or 3. It
Yeah,
could be
true.
they could be 1 and 2, and Mike could be like they're fucking off. Whoa,
yep.
TJ one bad loss, he'll have that bag on. I
Yeah.
know him.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. See, these ones are getting more specific, and I'm not going to ask everyone to go around because I'm not going to ask TJ and Clark to answer for themselves per se. In this one's for Eric and TJ. Clark doesn't really count because it has Notre Dame in it. Um, I also made Clark's not a hypothetical Notre Dame fan like I am as much. Clark's a realism Notre Dame fan. He's more like his grandfather.
Yeah.
I'm more of the other. There's two different types of Notre Dame fans. I'm the other side. I'm around that delusional like cowboy fan esque situation. For Eric and TJ, we'll start with TJ. Who has a better chance? Me, myself, Jack, celebrating a hypothetical Notre Dame win, or it actually happening this year, winning it all?
Oh, that's tough, man. Let's go celebrating the hypothetical, man. Andy will be there, but I don't think it's likely, man.
All right, Eric, what do you think?
I gotta agree, man. Just winning the Natty is such a hard feat, dude. And it's just, it sucks that both of our teams on this pod right now are good enough that if they
Yeah,
don't, it's upsetting, which is just an absurd fucking level to be at that you're that hyped up. But yeah, I'll say hypothetical just because it's so hard to win a Natty, man.
this one's for the boys, all of us. It's more of a fun one. I don't know if it's more hypothetical with laughs, I guess. Who has a better chance? Who will have a better percentage by the end of the year next year? Keegan's percentage of being on the podcast or Coach Campbell nailing those fourth downs? I'll start with
Oh,
Clark because
God.
he knows the fun in this one. What do you think, Clark? Who has a
Ooh.
higher percentage next year? I think Keegan rode right under 50%, and the Lions rode right under 50%. It was damn near spot on their statistics this year. Who's going to be better?
Give me Keegan. I think Keegan's gonna he lock in.
You might have more responsibilities though with the new coach. That's what I'm
Oh,
wondering. You know what I'm saying? He's
true.
gonna be
Fuck, I
back
didn't
in
think about that.
DC his ass off. I
Yeah.
don't know. TJ, what
Give
do
me
you think?
Campbell.
Yeah. Give me Campbell. He said. What do you think, TJ?
Bro, give me Dan Campbell with the 4th and 7 success, man. God love Keegan. But you asked me a question with two untethered, ungovernable, wild cavemen
True.
out in the
Yeah.
fucking
They're
universe.
twins.
Yeah.
Two fucking bite your kneecaps type of guys, man. So fuck, I don't know if there's a right answer or a wrong answer there, man.
That's what I said. That was fun. What do you think, Eric? You know Keegan himself too.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
dude.
tough.
I'm hammering the Lions, beating them out, dude. But the only reason that's giving me question is because say they hit it like 30%. Does that mean Kee's gonna come on the pod more to bitch?
Yeah, true.
to
Yeah, it's
bet
a
to
give and
get it
take.
out? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Some balance there. Oh. uh, so actually, this one wasn't fair because I was trying to think of something because Eric predicts everything perfectly. Um, I guess I'll do it more this way. TJ, who has a better chance? Eric being mine was not over 500 because Eric's never that. Eric being closer to 1,000% right on every prediction, or Clark breaking 500. Who has a better chance, TJ?
Oh, Eric, man.
Yeah.
Clark's
Oh,
he's too emotional, man.
damn.
He gets blinded by the
Yeah.
rage, blinded by the fury,
Give me
man. He
that.
can't see straight. He can't see the lines, man.
Man,
I
we've been
love it.
friends since fucking preschool, dog. You ain't have my back.
That means he's an expert. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
true.
That means-
Listen, he knows.
he has a
He
large
knows me through and
database of the
through. Yeah,
situation.
he's seen it.
Uh, oh, I thought that would be fun. Um, oh God, that's fun. Alrighty. I got a couple other goofy ones here. Those are the ones I had for us for the pod. Um, alrighty. One second. Gotta scroll up here. This one's more college football specific, just for the fun of it. Who has a better chance to win it all next year? A dominant defense or a video game type of offense? The game's changing now. You're starting to see these defenses push through the playoffs. But I feel like we're overdue with some Johnny Manziel-esque bullshit that's going to happen here soon. You know what I mean? It gets exciting. Look what Mendoza did. I mean, even though they had a good team. We'll start with you, Clark. Who has a better chance of winning it in college football? Dominant defense or video game offense?
Oh, video game offense, especially in college football. I think I don't know. I know we saw two good defenses this year, but that fucking video game offense, those high scoring offenses are fucking real tough to stop. And I don't necessarily think both national championship teams this year had a true video game offense. Tell me if those teams could beat LSU's team with Joe Burrow. I think it'd have been fucking tough for anybody. Like those video game offenses are when they're rolling, they're fucking tough to stop.
I also think the 12-team playoff adds a different thing where it's like,
hmm
look at what happened with Ohio State, Notre Dame. Two of the best defenses went at it. Texas was right there, great defense. Penn State was there with a great defense. Same thing kind of happened this year, other than Ole Miss was. I don't think you're going to see another Ole Miss situation like this year. That team that kind of
No.
just flew in there. That's what made it kind of exciting. What do you think, TJ? Video game offense or dominant defense?
I'm gonna say video game offense, man. With the different styles of offense in college football, I think it's really hard to be the dominant team on defense, and I think we're gonna see less and less of them because if you have to go and play an Ole Miss, and then the next week you have to go and play a pro style offense, and then you go play Tennessee with the wide splits, man, it's almost impossible against that many styles to be a true shutdown, drag them out defense.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go high scoring offense as well, mostly because of this quarterback class that's coming in. If you ask me the same question this time next year, I might say defense
Yeah.
because there's gonna be a shit ton of teams that are gonna be replacing quarterbacks. So, but for this year specifically, I'm gonna go offense as well.
Oh, yeah. All right. More college football. Who has a better chance to benefit from the transfer portal in the long term? A powerhouse or one of these mid-tier climbers? Actually, not long term for next season. A powerhouse or a mid-tier climber? You're starting to see schools like Oklahoma State stack up. What Indiana just did counts. They stacked up. Notre Dame stacked up, even though they were already there. They're not in the same thing. Like Indiana's more what I'm thinking of. Oklahoma State next year is another one to look out for. They keep their coaches now. They keep the players with it. Penn State did the same thing with Iowa State. Who has a better chance of having a better transfer portal for next year? The big teams or these mid teams that are just totally rebooting? We'll start with Eric.
Yeah, I'll say the good teams because I feel like you're filling gaps more so than a lot of times a team like Oklahoma State will go like what North Carolina did. I mean, what they have 50 transfers last year, and I don't think any of us could name a player on that roster right now. So,
Yeah.
but North Carolina is probably one extreme of that. Indiana is the other extreme of
Florida
that.
State's, yeah, another
Yeah,
extreme.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the better team or the bigger team, whatever you want, however you want to frame that.
What do you think, TJ? Transfer portal, one of these mid-tier climbers or a powerhouse? Which one's going to see more benefit next year?
I think it's going to be a mid-tier team, man. I think there's nothing wrong with stealing the leftovers from the top teams in college football to kind of make yourself relevant. And I think trust in the NIL era is at an all-time low, and that you're going to see like the snake is going to start eating its own tail with the NIL guys, where if you offer a kid money at one school and he's taking money at this school, they're really going to start going to war with each other at the top.
And I like what you said there because what used to be amazing about college football is that the older teams always won, and you're seeing it again now. But the older teams back in the day, it was a trust thing. You spent 4 or 5 years with that coach. You know all those boys on that team. They're all brothers of yours through and through. The transfer portal was really difficult, so you don't have a lot of turnover. And what you're starting to see now is kind of what Indiana pulled off, and I think what Oklahoma State can pull off in a different way. Colorado also pulled it off, where it's kind of them against the world because of the trust factor. Those guys all left North Texas knowing they could bank on their guy as a coach, right? And that trust is you just won't see it. I think it's interesting that a lot of these transfer guys may not have as much trust into the powerhouse coach, but the skills there to make up for any of that fucking trust issue. That's what you're kind of weighing out apples to oranges here. What do you think, Clark? Mid-tier powerhouse going to benefit more from the transfer portal next year?
Give me a mid-tier because I think we're going to see more and more frequently these mid-tier schools have a donor. It's going to shell out a fuck ton of money. And I think we're going to see a lot of schools in the future that would be considered mid-tier jump a level, even for a season or two, just from the money they fucking spent.
I like that. All right, going off of this same one, I'll actually go with Clark first because kind of off what you just said. Who has a better chance to survive the conference realignment long term, the tradition heavy programs or the NIL heavy programs?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Give me tradition. I think a lot of times we're going to see a lot of these tradition-heavy schools that have been good at stay at the top. They're going to have the long-term money. They got the old money. People, they're going to have the fan base, right? I think that's going to factor in a lot of how much money these schools can bring in for the conferences. So I think they're going to be ones that be able to stay alive.
All right, TJ, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I'm sticking with Mike. I think the traditional programs are going to be big, like because like there's history for that reason, like those old teams, man, like the Georgias and the Ohio States, man. That comes with 100 years of alumni and 100 years of donors, man. If you're a school like Eastern Carolina, like what are they going to get?
Yeah. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with tradition, mainly because I think like let's look at this in like 10 years. 10 years down the road from now, what do we think is more likely? That the Big Ten and the SEC added more better teams, or the ACC put together a conference from not the ground up, but damn near the ground up with NIL funding. So I'll go traditional as well, just because I think those big programs they're gonna continue to add better teams, I think, and I think that the lower ones will still be looking for the chops at the end of the table. You know what I mean? The leftovers, kind of.
We're going to see the proof in the pudding when it comes to Indiana because
Hmm.
can they sustain this
Hmm.
situation? They're like a perfect poster child of the difference in eras building up your program. I think Miami came back off of the same thing. Can they sustain under that type of pressure? Also, can teams like Texas A&M finally become the powerhouse they were made to be
Hmm.
with the money? Texas Tech, can they sustain? Also, I think realignment wise, there's a gray area here that is going to be very interesting. is Miami going to outgrow the ACC? Is Texas Tech going to outgrow the Big 12? I think so. I think you're going to see weird things like that happen that's going to cause more conference realignment to change. And you're also going to have to figure out the dead weight, too.
Mhm.
Are you gonna if Texas Tech wants to come knocking on your door, but Arkansas has been a pain in your ass and you're pretty much paying them to be in the conference and they're not paying you guys a dime because they don't have any money coming out of them, are you going to see some teams get booted? Is Purdue going to be worth keeping around, even though they have a rich history of football, but they suck? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what if Clemson's like, hey, what if Notre Dame's like, hey, that's the things I'm interested to see.
Well, and Clemson's probably the big one right now because all that shit that's going on with Clemson, there's no guarantee they'll be in the ACC until what, after 2028 right
And
now.
I
Like
predicted it
that's a
last year.
big, yeah, that's a big fight right
I
now.
think they're gonna fall into that Notre Dame category for a few years. I think that you
Hmm.
might see them be independent for a year or two and test the waters before they go anywhere. I think you're gonna see that a lot of places. I think teams that are big enough. I don't think Clemson's big enough. I think you have to be like USC, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Alabama. You have to be one of those. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even Miami might be able to pull some off with that because they're kind of by themselves down there in the corner. They're not with the rest of the ACC. Just thought that would be an interesting take there. All right, this was more fun for us, boys. Just a couple more left. Which has a better chance? Your preseason Super Bowl pick being right or your week one overreaction being right? No specifics in there. Just go off the vibes of the way the seasons went. Go off the vibe of what we just went over of all of our rights and wrongs. Apparently, we don't know shit, but we know everything all at the same time. I'll start with you. Eric's the best predictor in the world. Do you think your preseason Super Bowl pick before the season starts going to be more accurate than your week one overreaction? Or is your week one overreaction going to just take over and be more accurate than your preseason predictions?
Yeah, I gotta go with my preseason Super Bowl pick because I do my best not to overreact to 1 week at a
Yeah.
time. It's hard to do as a Browns fan, but yeah, I'll go with Super Bowl pick being closer than my week one overreaction.
I'm gonna flip it over. We'll get to TJ next after Clark because Clark's the complete opposite, right? Like Eric thinks with he has like the old school like remember the math fucking thing where it's like has all the numbers lined up the fucking
Yeah.
multiplier thing. That's how Eric's looking at this thing.
Gladys.
Clark,
Yeah.
yeah, Clark's licking his finger and fucking putting it up in the sky. What do we think, Clark? Your preseason predictions or your overreactions gonna be right?
Uh,
Both of them are kind of
they're
you're
iffy. I'm like 50-50 on some of them. Sometimes I hit the nail on the head for like fucking long range, and then the overreactions can be somewhat useful. I'm gonna say I'll be more right on my preseason prediction, like the Super Bowl preseason prediction, than the overreaction. Because I tend, like TJ said, I tend to get a little emotional sometimes, and I get fucking real spited for shit. Where I'll just go all in, then I'm like, well, that was kind of fucking dumb. I've been doing that my whole life with mostly everything, so I'm gonna say the Super Bowl prediction would probably be this is the preseason one.
Now I'm gonna go to the guy in the middle of this, TJ. TJ is exactly in the middle. I think TJ is unique because when he decides to overreact, it's a decision. When he decides to overreact, he's usually 10 out of 10 spot on because something made him do that. Something made him change course. Something got a little too hot in the kitchen and he had to turn the fucking stove off and he's like, fuck that. I'm done with that. What do you think, TJ? Your overreactions or your preseason predictions? What's going to be more right? I know I kind of laid you up there to say your overreactions. I just wanted to give you your kudos with that because your overreactions usually spot on and that's why you're the man with the brown paper bag. Yeah.
You know me, man. You know me all too well, man. But give me the preseason prediction. I'll tell you why. Because I have learned over my years of football fandom to not let week one set the course for the rest of the year. And it used to fry my brain. Like in my early football watching years, I would super overreact to week one. So give me my playoff prediction, man.
Hell yeah. Now, this is the last one, and it's going to be fun and sweet, boys. I'll answer it first, actually. It's the one I will answer. What has a better chance? This season being predictable and us being right about predictions, or the From the Deep podcast is going to stay calm? Which one is more predictable? Are we going to stay calm this year, or are we going to be right this year? It's kind of a weird
Ooh,
toss up because we're neither, to be honest
yeah,
with you.
that's what I'm gonna say. We're not like
Which one's more likely? I'll go TJ first. He's usually the calmer one who ends up he when he's not calm though, he's not calm at all. What do you think, TJ? Are we gonna be calm this year or are we gonna be spot on?
Nah, big dog, we're gonna boil over, man. Because calm exists on a spectrum, right? So there's bad calm, or there's bad excited and there's good excited. So no matter what, man, something's gonna boil over here between the Niners and the Browns, man. We're gonna be fucking fired up, boys. Come on
I think I
now.
might just leave TJ at that one because I know Eric's not fair. He's gonna be calm and predicting. Like I don't see Eric really lose his lid unless he really needs to.
Nobody wants to see this pod calm every week, bro. What are we doing? Hell no.
Yeah.
We need the fireworks, baby.
Hell yeah, but hey, when I say calm, it's more like are we avoiding possible death threats, showing up to people's houses,
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
airing out dirty laundry, fucking subreddits that no one knows about yet. That's the calm. That's why I ain't asking Clark a damn things. I want
Yeah,
Clark
you
to be the
already,
spice. Yeah.
yeah, you already know where I'm answering.
Clark's like predictability and being calm. What the fuck are we
Yeah.
talking about? Oh man. All right, boys. Let's keep moving just real quick. We're gonna be wrapping up here. Um real quick, just round the board. We only have a couple more easy things to bring up. Hot seats. I just wanted to bring this one up real quick. Do we have a certain coach that's going to be on a hot seat this year? And if you don't really have an answer for that, do you have a coach, college or NFL, that is just an ultra safe bet? Like no matter what happens. And I'm gonna throw this in there. I know this sounds crazy, and I know this is gonna come from my hater side, but I promise you, it's coming from a mix. I think if Ohio State's season goes haywire, and I'm not saying it's gonna be because they're not good enough. I'm not saying none of that. I'm saying that you have a tough ass fucking schedule against really good people and games play out in wild ways. And if Brian and I almost said Brian Kelly, I'm getting to that kind of thing, but what I will say if Coach Day drops, we talk about the 9-3 thing. If Coach Day goes 9-3, his seat's hotter than fucking dog shit. And I'm not saying it's fair. I just think that be ready for that. I think a lot of people saw Coach Franklin's situation going into Penn State, and they're like, "Ooh, we got a couple tough games. Got Indiana, got Ohio State. You know what I mean? Like, blah blah blah." He didn't even make it to those fucking games. Now it's a different scenario by far, but Penn State was losing against shitty teams. I'm not saying Ohio State will. My prediction is that if Ohio State drops 3 games, you think it was hot before, especially if one of those 3 games are Michigan. I think Coach Day is right back on the seat he was on when the fucking fight broke out in the middle of the 50-yard line. That's my prediction with that. What do you think, Eric? What surprising coach you think, NFL or college, could be on a big hot seat this year? We have no more Tomlin. You know what I mean? All the old heads
Mhm.
got ran out, so it's a little bit of a different question, college and NFL.
So no one's screaming at me in the NFL. I do want to bring up Shanahan because what if this season went really, really bad? Like, just what if that happened and it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, hey, we love you, but like we got to look a different direction now. You know what I mean? Because how many times have we said on this pod he's the best coach in the NFL to not have a Super Bowl win?
Yeah.
And that sounds crazy, but I'm just saying, like, I think this time last year we brought up Tomlin and Harbaugh. That's everyone would think you're crazy too.
Yep.
College football wise, Dabo comes to mind, and so does DeBoer. Like I know that people think Dabo would never get fired, but after what he just happened last year, probably
Yeah.
like one of the more talented rosters in college football, and they had as much expectations as anybody. I think you could see Dabo and especially DeBoer, who's already on a hot seat. So those are the three that come to mind. NFL wise, I'm no one else really comes to mind strongly for NFL. Shannon's not even a strong one. I'm just trying to think of a random one off the
Yeah, and
top of
that's
my
my
head.
thing. Like, I don't think Coach Day is a strong one at all. That's more of just a hot take because he's just one of the more comfortable coaches. But that's what I'm thinking, though. Like, the Ravens are my perfect example. Like,
Well,
what
the
team out there is going to kind of implode and have to make a change?
Well, and that's kind of where I want to take the Ryan Day thing. Him and Franklin both, I could see eventually jumping to an NFL job.
Yeah.
Like I just think that they both have that background. So in that scenario, your seat wasn't even
Freeman, you're
hot.
saying? Freeman, you're
Yeah,
saying?
Freeman and
Oh,
Day.
okay.
Like I wouldn't be
I,
surprised if
I thought I said
Day was a
Franklin
head
at
coach in
first.
the
I was like,
NFL
oh,
someday. You know
hell
what I
no.
mean?
Imagine
Like
Coach
the
Franklin in the NFL. Sorry, I was hearing you on that one. I'll say, same thing with Freeman. Freeman drops a couple of those shitty games. Me and Clark will tell you right now.
Oh, it'll be tough.
He'll go from the number one guy everyone wants to he's gonna be lucky to coach at fucking Miami of Ohio, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he drops any of that shit, he's gonna be hot. What do you think, TJ? We got any hot seats to be prepared for?
Yeah, man. I don't know. The Packers situation with Matt LaFleur kind of
Yup.
jumped out to
good
me
Big
that,
call.
one.
I don't think it's because he's a bad coach, but I'm not sure the fit is right. And I'm not sure Green Bay is going to put up with
Yup.
that. long term, especially in that division, which is only looking up from here, man. And then I like what Eric said about Kalen DeBoer. I think that it feels in my gut that that is boiling up to reach just a fever pitch at some point, and DeBoer is going to be out of Bama before you know it.
Yeah, that's he's definitely going to be without a doubt. He was on the hottest seat last year. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of the goddamn season when he lost to Florida State, I thought that shit was toast. So who knows what happens again? What do you think, Clark? You got any hot seat guys?
Lincoln Riley, USC. I think
Good call.
he's been what there 5, 6 years now. He hasn't really done much, and he's got the number one recruiting class coming in. I think this is it for him. If he fucking goes 8-4, 9-3, I think I would not be surprised to see a new coach there next year.
And I'll start with a big name in here. Be ready that the Chiefs implode again. Andy Reid's going to retire. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's getting fired. I could predict the changing
Hmm.
happening there while the iron's still hot, while Kelsey's still kind of somewhat available as a player and not retired yet. That's one of the bigger names I could see. Right up there with Shanahan's another one. I
Hmm.
also am very excited to see McVay without a real quarterback after Stafford's gone. Like,
Yeah,
what does that look like? Did you make golf look better, or golf kind of saved himself with the Lions too? So you kind of made each other
absolutely.
look better. I want to see what happens with some of these coaches with change. LaFleur is another a really good one. Also, Keegan, I don't think the Lions should do anything with Dan Campbell, even if their season goes in the shitter. I think when you're that bad of a franchise, you just hold on to whatever you got to see make it work. I mean, sadly, that's what we saw with Kevin Stefanski too. It's gonna be one of those situations. It's gonna drag out. But see, Dan Campbell, if they fuck up and he has a couple of those fourth down calls, man, with that roster and that front office actually giving a fuck now, you know what I'm saying? If you can't win with Gibbs and all of them, bro, they're gonna start looking at you, brother. And isn't that how it works though? Like same thing with Franklin with Penn State. You end up being like Nick Saban always says, you end up being kind of the enemy of your own success.
Hmm.
Like you're the one that set the standard there, but if you can't keep up with your own standard, they're
You're the
gonna
one
have
that gets
someone else.
booed.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. That's just
We've seen it happening more and more in the NFL,
yep.
especially these last few years, man. It's fucking cutthroat.
100%, 100%. I know Clark brought this up. I really don't have too many other than a couple. I know you guys might. Any rule changes for next year that you'd like to see? I will say this one thing. I'm tired of the college football playoff talk. I would like to see it just shrunk. Make it eight. Make everyone piss and whine, make everyone get fucking mad, make the fucking margins this close so there's no more fucking arguments. Also, I think you save bowl games. I think if you make it 8 teams, I think some teams will be more likely to prove something to themselves. You'll have more Vanderbilt like teams that want to prove something. Well, Notre Dame got rid of. I'm not talking about Notre Dame. We have nothing to prove. We're not going to go to a bowl game. Just get that out of your fucking brain. But I do think Notre Dame would go to a bowl game in that situation. You know what I'm saying? I say you shrink it down. I know that's never going to happen, but I say that. And then also, if the ball flies out of the end of the end zone and he already passed the plane, it's a touchdown. I'm
Oh
tired.
yeah.
It's just that I know we talked about that. I know Eric's had feelings about that. I don't. And then if you want to give them whatever, in my opinion, make the team. If anything, make the team start back. Or don't give the 2 points and then kick off. Give the 2 points and then you get the ball back. Do something. I'm seeing too much of that bullshit. How do you expect people to try to aim to get across the pylon if they're going to get penalized for it?
Yeah.
I don't like the rule. I think it's too old school, and I think the rule was made when shit was like guys like us playing in the NFL. Now there's dudes with 4.4s running around. I don't like it, and put a sensor in the ball as well, like fucking tennis. I'm tired of it. And I'm a chain gang guy. Keep the chain gang there for aesthetic. Don't lean on any of that shit. Make it just pure technology. You guys got any rule changes or anything you'd like to see changed? Just open rooms. I don't know if anybody actually has anything.
Yeah. So the one that's coming to mind, I can't really be original with this one because I saw they're talking about it now the college targeting, kicking it
Oh
out for a
yeah.
game, and that's it. Not going into next week.
Oh
And
yeah.
then the NFL wise, I think I'd like to see all flags be challengeable. Be challengeable. I think that'd be good for the game. I know it would make the game longer. I don't give a fuck. I want the call to be right.
Or at least have
Period.
a
All the
or at least
time.
have a couple flags for it. Like it's a
Yes.
separate
Yes.
flag than the challenge flag. Yeah.
Yes. And then another NFL one that I'd kind of getting on board with would be make all catches 1 foot instead of two. You'd fix your catch rule like that. Like, is it a catch? Is it not a catch? 1 foot versus 2 foot, it'd solve that.
Yeah.
Like, not solve it every time, but it'd solve half of those reviews that we spend so much time on. And plus, I think it'd be sick. Like, come on, like
It'd
that'd be
make the
so
game
good.
electric too. Like
Oh
guys
yeah,
would
Fuck
be
and
yeah.
the
they
stats
talk
would go
about
out the door.
trying to talk about giving another boost to offense. Hey, let's make it one-handed catch or 1 foot catch instead of 2 foot. I think that'd
Yeah,
be super fun.
I
I
would
like
love
that.
to see the 4 point fucking field goal from 60 yards out. Fucking inject that in my veins. And the chance to go for three from the 8 yard line like the UFL is doing. I think that is fucking, those are great changes. I know fucking football peers, oh, you're changing how. Fuck that, dude. That'd be cool. Give more teams a chance to fucking change the game at the end of the game, dude. Let a team go get fucking 9 points in one drive or kick a 4 point field goal, a fucking win it would be awesome.
I can't tell if what you just. I think what you said wouldn't get people as mad as what TJ said the other week when he was talking about fucking moving an NFL team to Europe and
Oh,
fucking
yeah, true.
all the other
Germany, wasn't that
Germany.
Germany?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was going
yeah.
crazy. TJ was going crazy with the old heads on the last spot. What do you think, TJ? Anything you'd like to see changed?
I mean, it's obvious, man. I've stated my fucking case on the tush push, man. Offensive players shouldn't be allowed to push each other, man. But I'm not gonna sing that anymore. I love, absolutely love the 3 point conversion from the 8 yard line. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And you would see some rambling, scrambling shit towards the end of games with teams trying to pull that off. So I think those two would be big for me, man.
And this is a random old, like not old. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. Just random ass thought. I just thought about this when I was making the list last week for all this stuff. How wild and just interesting would it be? So you know how like they're allowed to talk to quarterbacks more and more, right, with their speakers and
Mhm.
stuff. How about we double down even more? If you're a coordinator, you have to be on the field. You're still allowed to talk to the guys up top, but if you're a coordinator, you have to be on the field. Offense and defense coordinators have to be on the field and trust their staff up top. And I just would love to see the what changes would that bring to the communication of things? Would gurus look like gurus if they weren't the ones actually watching up top? You know what I'm saying? Like you can still have your assistants up there, but if you're a coordinator, you gotta be on the ground with the head coach. I just always thought like, 'cause everyone has their own style with that. Some guys
Mhm.
do, but I just thought that'd be interesting. What are you thinking, Eric?
I was just thinking this isn't even off your point. College, fix the fucking kickoffs. That fair catch shit, and they still get the ball to 25.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That tricks me every time I watch the game. Fuck that, dude. Like, you can't do that in the NFL. That's the whole. It's not. It's not. But the whole point of this is supposed to be to get these guys ready for the next level of football. I'm not saying you got to adopt their kickoff. I'm not saying that. I don't have a hot take about the NFL's kickoff. But make that fair catch shit. That's where the ball is. You don't get on 25. You fair catch at the 12-yard line. I can't stand that shit. It drives me crazy every time I see it happen.
I like that. Like, what if you fair catch it, you don't automatically get 25. Maybe you just get the 20, you get the 15.
Hmm.
Make you take it out. Like make, you know, and also like but it goes on the flip side. I've seen a lot of college teams. I watched a video on this the other day. They're trying to teach their kickers not to boot it. They want them to have a chance to return it. Kind of like when we play in NCAA. You kind of want the guy to have a slight chance to return it so you can hit him at the 10. You
Yeah,
don't want, you
get
know
him
what I
at the
mean?
Hmm.
15. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so like it's kind of a chess game when it comes to when it comes to that. I like that. Also, NFL. I'd like to see the NFL overtime change a little bit, or college football overtime change. I want either one to match. It's like I like the college football one a lot. You know, you have to go for two after a while. I think with big bodies in the NFL, that'd be very interesting. But also, I'm also not a fan of the. I don't like the whole give the other team a chance. I'm old school with that. I don't like the playoff rule. I don't. I think if you don't want the other team to score, don't let them score. Kind of like what AJ Hawk always says on Pat McAfee. He goes, "Fuck that.
Hmm.
If we stopped you, we stopped you. Who gives a fuck? Like it's it.
Yeah.
If we kicked the field goal, we fucking won the game. To block our field goal, then like we had 40 minutes to an hour to fucking play against each other. We
Yeah,
could have like I don't know.
I'd I'd almost be more happy with the overtime if the NFL just went back to a clock. Like, hey, 8 minutes, 10 minute quarter. That's it. Like,
And no
I
tie games. I'm tired of
yeah,
that. Like let
and
us
it's
keep
annoying.
running.
And it's annoying that we have to Google what the overtime rules because they keep on changing this shit. I think it's so annoying that I got to go. Oh, but it's postseason now, and they changed it from regular season to postseason. How the fuck does that make any sense? You don't value the games the same. You should. Like that's the way it
Very
goes.
good
But
point.
I'm
yeah.
also not really. This sounds crazy. I'm not against running the clock in college football. One of the reasons why is because some of these teams are so outmatched, and I think some of these teams pit pocket their stats. I also think it's an excuse for some teams to keep their starters in so they look better for the playoff. I think you kind of get rid of all that if you're just like fuck it. Once the time's running, then that's when the backups are starting to run in, and if they
Hmm.
maybe they get inside of 28 points, the time goes back to normal. I'd like to see a running clock in college football games and maybe in non-conference games, something unique. I'm
Yeah.
tired of watching these fucking. It's just not fair now that we're all subjective about the whole thing. We're not all in the same conferences. We're all trying to compare different little things. Well, look at their stats this year. It's like, yeah, but if they played against two MAC schools and the other team didn't, I don't know what we're looking at here. And I just think that we're not playing backups enough. And I wish we were. That's just some random ass thoughts there. Um, you guys, 1 second, see if we got anything else. I'm not gonna ask that. I was gonna ask which coach had the best breakout chance. You guys have one, if you do. I'm saying out of the 10 coaches, which one has the best chance to break out? The
Fuck,
new
that's
coaches.
tough.
Out of
I
all the
say
Maybe
new.
the
Stefanski
Cardinals
or
guy because
Harbaugh.
no one,
Yep.
maybe the Cardinals because no one expects shit from that guy. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
so
division though.
if he won 7 games, he'd be anointed. He'd
Yeah,
probably win Coach of the Year if he won 7 games. Like if they lucked into 7 wins.
yeah. I'm gonna repeat TJ's. I think this is what TJ's gonna say. I'm gonna go Salah and Kevin Stefanski. Like those two, I
Hmm.
think are. TJ's kind of touched on that a lot. I know he's been bitter about the Kevin Stefanski thing though, but those two guys are kind of are being given a situation that's very ideal. And Salah's coordinator crew and everything like that, and that division's kind of ass. Same thing with Atlanta. That division's kind of ass, a little more wide open, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but also, I'm not. Hey, like I think like the Ravens head coach could break out as well and take advantage of the situation with having Lamar and all those boys. Hell, even the Browns could break out. Like that's what's kind of wild. Like you don't really know. I think some things are certain though. The Jets will suck, and I don't. And the Dolphins ain't gonna be good. I don't care about that coach. I don't care who coaches. I always say this: look into the Dolphins, boys. Everyone wants to make fun of the Browns, Lions, and Jets. Look into the Dolphins. They're the only other team that has not made the playoffs in the last 20 some years. No one ever thinks that because they all look fancy. It's Miami. They have to be good. They went undefeated. What? Like, yeah, like 50 years ago, they went undefeated. And we're still talking about it. And that team was ass. Let's just It was. They played against nobody. I don't even think their opponents had a plus 500 record. Anyways, I digress. I'm ranting. Any other as before we get off, boys? Do we have any breaking news? Anything we want to share before we wrap up the pod? I always want to hand that off to you guys. I know we wrote down some things. Tyreek Hill was released. Bradley Chubb released. I saw that you wrote down Titans new logo. That's hilarious. Pat McAfee brought that up today to the Titans guy about how fucking Fanatics fucked them over a little bit and released that shit. Seahawks begun process selling team. That's very interesting. Bears to be moving to Indiana. Very wild. That's very wild. But I mean, if you look at it like statistic wise, it's the same distance from the city as like Santa Clara is
Hmm.
from San Francisco and shit like that. Gary, Indiana Bears, dude. I don't know where
Oh,
the players are gonna live. Like where are you gonna what community are you gonna create that's not gonna stick out like a
And will
sore
their
thumb out
taxes
there?
be through Chicago if the stadium and their practice facility was in Indiana? You know what I mean?
yeah.
A lot of Bears
So much
fans out
weird
there.
shit. So much weird shit in that.
Notre Dame country is getting a goddamn NFL team in our backyard. How wild is that? Who would have thought? Indiana's gonna have two NFL teams in their own state. You know what I'm saying? That's wild. That's wild. And then that Viking that Purdue wide receiver gave a shout out to Randall Moore. That was crazy. I don't know if you guys saw that JJ Watt clip that was
Yeah.
going around. That
That
shit
was
was sad.
sad, dude. And there's actually a few different ones of those two interacting. I fucking feel bad for JJ, man. That shit's gotta hurt.
I'll never
Yeah.
forget the way that dude cooked Ohio State, bro. He
Oh,
cooked
dude,
Ohio
yeah.
State that year they upset us. I think he had almost like 300 combined yards and 3 touchdowns or something crazy like this. Absolutely cooked us.
As a
Yeah.
true freshman
Yep.
against Ohio State, man, an 18-year-old kid went absolutely nuclear, man. R.I.P.
Dwayne
Rondale
Haskins was
Moore,
the
man.
quarterback. Dwayne Haskins was the quarterback of that Ohio State team too, man. Eerie just
Yeah,
looking
I was
back
at
on
your
that game.
apartment in BG, baby. I
Yeah.
was with you when that happened. I loved every minute of that game. That's one of my favorite games ever. Shout out. Oh, also shout out USA Hockey. I know that just
Oh
happened.
yeah, baby. Fuck Canada. If you're from Canada and listen, turn it off. We don't want you here.
Unless you're the Trailer Park Boys guys. I like those
Yes,
guys.
then you're allowed. You can be allowed.
Oh God, that's hilarious. Oh man, you guys got anything else before we wrap up this finale, man? This was a fun one. A little bit longer, but we needed to take time to embrace it a little bit. For everyone listening, we're gonna jump into a lot of off-season stuff. Off-season's gonna be rowdy. Some episodes will be long, some episodes will be short. But we're already working on them. We're already getting stuff lined up. We're gonna have random topics, a lot of ball talk, a lot of just shooting the shit about historical stuff, future stuff, hypotheticals all the way around. It's gonna be a fucking good time. Football movies as well. I love that list. We definitely gonna have a whole episode on just football movies and shows and the whole nine. You're good and bad. I always think of She's the Man. I think is when that dude's throwing the football like this. Like,
Oh
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like that shit always cracks me the fuck up. Also, watch Bob Sala throw that goddamn football on Pat McAfee. I don't think he's thrown a football in his fucking life. How can you be a head football coach and never throw a football in your fucking life? He's a D2 fucking player, he said. I don't know. But we'll be having a lot of fucking fun with that. A lot of weird interviews as well. We're lining up. Old ex NFL guys, college football guys, a lot of coach interviews. We got a lot of boys that are high school football coaches. We want to pick their brains as coaches, kind of sprawl out too into the high school realm. In Ohio, high school football is a big deal. Maybe we get our feet wet with that a little bit and have a good fucking time. You guys got anything before we bounce?
No, I
I'm ready,
mean,
baby. I'm excited
I
for combine. That's where all
we're
the
Oh,
not
yep.
only the players testing, but that's also where all the stories come from too. All the trades and shit. This is where it all starts at the fucking combine. That's where all these guys are talking to each other. So we see the random shit. I'm excited for some Raz scores that never seem to matter, but I can't wait to fucking read them all.
I forgot to bring up the combine. Both of you boys jolted up. What do you think, TJ? You excited for the combine? What else you got to say?
Yeah, man, I'm stoked on that. And I wanted to tell our listeners, man, keep an eye out. There might be some shorter format stuff with me and Eric getting real chalkboardy on the From the Deep page with some of the combine stuff. And as we do our film reviews and scouting and shit, keep an eye out, man. Me and Eric are gonna meet up and do some football talk, man.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have those boys will be doing their thing. Be on the lookout for that. Thank you for plugging that in. Starting next week, we start our first final official episode with me and Ryan doing From the Deep basketball edition. You'll see some of these guys' faces on that as well once we get the ball rolling of how we're doing all of that. Yeah, we're gonna be going crazy. So shoot us ideas, anything you'd like us to talk about, get wild about, random shit, just to talk. Hit us up, man. Send us fucking shit. We got more than enough time to fucking bullshit. Be on the lookout for probably 2 episodes a month or so. It's not gonna be a weekly thing, but we'll make sure we promote the fuck out of it. We post more clips in between those weeks. That way you guys can see our ugly mugs, get a little bit more wild. But also take a little break, man. We're fucking tired. We played a whole fucking season. No injuries either. You know what I'm saying? Keegan was like Joe Flacco. Showed up, left, showed up, left. You know what I'm saying? Goes to another team, who knows? But yeah, man, it's been a good fucking year. Thank you, Eric and TJ, for joining the fucking crew. Me and Clark been at this a long time, man. It's been a good fucking gig. It's a lot of fun. What do you think, Clark? How do you feel after our little finale for the last season? Any last words?
Shit, man.
There you go.
Fuck yeah, baby. Season
Yeah.
3 of the books.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking make that our fucking sound tag for this one. Oh man, you know what, y'all? This is From the Deep.